Psalms 145 verse 3 says, "Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised, and his greatness is unsearchable." A blessed good morning, honorable members, and those under the sound of my voice. Today in our Moments of Impact Reflection segment, I'll be continuing sharing from the leadership series, Becoming a Better Leader. Let me begin by saying the purpose for this series is to add value to your leadership. I believe when we all become better leaders, just like when the tide rises, everything around us will rise. In part 2, yesterday, we reflected on the key word, empathy. In today's reflection for part 3, I want to focus on the key word, action. To become a better leader, you must become a person of action. Action is the process of doing something in order to make something happen. I've discovered over the years that there are 3 types of leaders in the world. 1, there are those who watch things happen. They are the passive ones. Then there are those who ask, what just happened? They are the absent ones. And then there are those who make things happen. They are the action-oriented ones. Leaders of action are the ones who make things happen. I'm a firm believer that leadership is not about, in Bahamian vernacular, slapping up, which means to talk a lot. Instead, leadership is about producing results. I'm reminded of Nehemiah, the trusted cupbearer of the Persian king, who was given the assignment to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem after it was torn down and the gates were destroyed by fire. Nehemiah 2 and 17, 18 says, "Then said I unto them, you see the distress that we are in, how Jerusalem lieth waste, and the gates are burned with fire. Come, let us build up the walls of Jerusalem, that we no more be a reproach. Then I told them of the good hand of my God that was upon me, and the king's word that he has spoken unto me. And they said, let us rise up and build. So they strengthened their hands for this good work." Nehemiah wasted no time in gathering the troops to get the job done. Despite of all the trials and tribulations he faced, he brought the vision to pass. And according to Nehemiah 6 verse 15, in a record 52 days, the walls were completed. This happened because Nehemiah was a leader of action. In conclusion, I want to admonish each of you honorable members to be leaders of action. The Bahamas is depending on you. If you set out to do something, get it done. Make no excuses. My father taught me years ago that excuse is nothing more than a polished lie. Finally, I would like for each of you to repeat after me. Less talk. More action. Let's try that one more time. Less talk. More action. Now I will take you to church for 2 seconds. Turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, less talk. More action. Turn to your next neighbor and say, neighbor, less talk. More action. Selah. Think and act on these things. Let us pray. Our Father and our God, we give you thanks for the sacred gift of life. We take not for granted our space here today. We thank you for health. We thank you for strength. We thank you for this great nation called the Bahamas, whom we believe and are persuaded that we are the apple of your eye. Almighty God, continue to hide us under the shadow of your wings. Continue to be our shield. Continue to be our buckler. We thank you, Almighty God, for our political leaders, and we pray for their strength today. We pray, Almighty God, for their fortitude. We pray for a hedge of protection to be around each of them. And Father, Father, we declare in this place today that no weapon formed against either of them shall prosper. We thank you that every tongue that rises against them shall fall in condemnation. We pray, Almighty God, for godly wisdom to be endowed upon each of them as they carry out their leadership responsibilities. Bless them. Bless their families. Everything they put their hands to, may it be blessed. Father, we thank you for what you will do in this place today. Bless this honorable house. And, oh God, continue to bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. These things we ask in no other name, but in the matchless name of Jesus. And all of God's people say, amen. Amen. Let us pray the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Sharon, when we coming out the gateway?
Sanibel is supposed to start, and then after him is North Andres.
Okay, good. We get the updated copy of it, right?
Yeah, I can print it out for you.
Okay. Sanibel. Good morning, honorable members. At the suspension, we were debating a compendium of bills. I presume we are now ready with the honorable member for Centerville on the floor. The chair recognizes the honorable member for Centerville. Morning.
Madam Speaker, I rise today on behalf of the great constituency of Centerville. And I thank them for their overwhelming support.
Put up your mic.
For their overwhelming support in re-electing me as their member of parliament. Some of them are joining us here today in the gallery. Madam Speaker, this took place with over 74% of the votes captured within the constituency. That level of support is not something I take lightly. It is a powerful expression of confidence, trust, and partnership between myself and the people of Centerville. It is a mandate to continue the work that we have started, to deepen the progress already made, and to serve with even greater focus, humility, and determination. Madam Speaker, I did not do it alone, and I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank my family, my campaign team, our volunteers, supporters, community leaders, and every single resident that walked with us, worked with us, encouraged us, prayed with us, and helped to bring us where we are today as a community. Madam Speaker, Centerville is more than just an area to me. It is a community of family, workers, young people, seniors, churches, schools, small businesses, and everyday Bahamians who want a better quality of life and stronger future for their children. As I stated at our victory party, I am truly committed to ensuring that during this term, our constituency will experience the best 5 years that we have ever seen as a community. This is not merely a political statement. It is a working commitment. We will continue to build together, to stand together, and we will continue to move Centerville forward together. Madam Speaker, I know that they've heard it before, but let me say it again. Centerville, Campbell cares. I also wish to express my sincere gratitude to the member for Cat Island, Rumkey, and San Salvador for continuing to place his trust and confidence in my leadership by reappointing me to serve as Minister of the great Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources. I do not take this responsibility lightly, and to be entrusted once again with the stewardship of a ministry so central to national development, food security, family island economies, farmers, fishermen, and the protection of our marine resources is both an honor and a solemn duty. I thank the Prime Minister for his confidence, his steady leadership, and his continued commitment to building a Bahamas that is more resilient, more self-reliant, and better prepared for the future. Under his leadership, this administration has made it clear that agriculture and marine resources are not secondary sectors. They are strategic pillars in the advancement of our economy, the empowerment of our people, and the strengthening of our national sovereignty. As I continue in this role, I recommit myself to carrying out the mandate with discipline, urgency, and purpose, ensuring that our ministry continues to deliver measurable progress for the Bahamian people. In our ministry, Madam Speaker, our theme is, we believe. What do we believe in? We believe in values. We believe in the Bahamian people. And we believe in progress. When I say we, I don't just mean myself. I mean my team, some of whom are present here today in the gallery in the presence of our Permanent Secretary, Neil Campbell, our FO, Ms. Russell, Director of Marine Resources, Mr. Gittins, our ED, Ms. Pinling, our Chief Marine Consultant, Mr. Bethel, and many, many others who are on the outside of these hallowed halls. Madam Speaker, we plan our work, and we work our plan. But we also brag, and all you have to do is look behind me to see that we do it rightfully so. Even in the chair. Our ministry believes that we are number one. And these trophies that you see here, all 14 of them behind me, Madam Speaker, are living proof. Oh, boy. Ain't so heavy. Who's heavy to lift? You can take them off. It's just so many. The trophy is from the Public Service Month last year, evidence of the commitment, excellence, and delivery of our ministry, winning 14 out of the 16 categories. Madam Speaker, I think that truly deserves a round of applause. If you are here, please stand. Please stand. Yo, please stand. None for sailing yet. And I would again like to take this opportunity to thank our executive team and the entire staff on whose shoulders we stand in the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources. Madam Speaker, I rise here today to report to this honorable House and to the Bahamian people on the progress being made by our ministry during this budget cycle over the past year. Our ministry has intensified its efforts to modernize, strengthen, and elevate the sector. We have moved well beyond talk and toward delivery. Less talk, more action. We have strengthened enforcement, expanded institutional access in the Family Islands, improved public market infrastructure, supported small businesses, and continued building a stronger foundation for national food security. But before I go further, I wish to take this opportunity to acknowledge the newly appointed Minister of State for Agriculture and Marine Resources with responsibility for BAMSI in particular, the Honorable Member for North Andros, Leonardo Lake. I look forward to working closely with him as we continue advancing the work of the ministry. His appointment comes at an important time, particularly as we strengthen agricultural education, technical training, research, and capacity building through BAMSI. And Madam Speaker, as the Member of Parliament for North Andros, I am sure that the big yard is truly excited for what he will bring to the table. Andros has always had a proud agricultural legacy, and I believe the honorable member's presence in the ministry will help to further connect that heritage with the future of Bahamian agriculture. Madam Speaker, our policy direction is clear. The Bahamas must grow more of what we eat, protect more of what we harvest, and train more Bahamians to participate in these sectors, and also create more pathways for local enterprises to succeed. That is the progressive agenda being advanced by our ministry. And so let me speak to one of the major initiatives within this budget cycle, the Golden Yoke. This project has been a centerpiece of the Bahamas Agricultural and Industry Corporation's agenda and a major component of the national push to strengthen poultry production and reduce our dependence on imported eggs. Madam Speaker, I am pleased to report that the ministry has completed its direct responsibilities connected to this phase of the project. This includes the completion of 2 poultry houses, the establishment of an egg processing facility, and the purchase of 10,000 chickens, all of whom are laying. The ministry has also procured the necessary tools in feed and hand to support operations as the project advances to the required stages of completion and market supply. But don't get me wrong, this is not just about eggs. It is about rebuilding productivity capacity. It is about strengthening a poultry industry that can create jobs, support local suppliers, expand agribusiness opportunities, and keep more Bahamian dollars circulating inside the Bahamian economy. As of the end of May, the project has supplied the market with approximately 8,000 eggs. 8,000. We also anticipate the creation of 30 to 40 employment opportunities connected to this initiative. The special purpose vehicle has already been formed and held a series of meetings before and after the general election. These are tangible steps, measurable outcomes. These are the building blocks of a stronger domestic food systems. Madam Speaker, some people call this project the Golden Yoke, but we did not mind the noise in the market. Our team took the high road because feeding ourselves is not a political football. Food security has no political color. It is one of life's basic necessities. Madam Speaker, everyone knows that Campbell cares, but Campbell ain't no low vets. There were others who had their own chicken layer program. If it had succeeded, they would have mentioned it by now. Our program involves the Golden Yoke as part of the National Layer Program, intended for schools, island communities, city communities, and 100%, not 99.5, 100% Bahamian ownership. No outsourcing. No outsourcing to persons other than Bahamians, and that's with a capital B. Madam Speaker, food security cannot be achieved by speeches alone. It requires infrastructure. It requires livestock, feed, processing, distribution, trained people, sustained investment. And the Golden Yoke Project presents exactly that kind of practical investment. Madam Speaker, the ministry has also advanced a grant program designed to support individuals and groups engaged in agriculture and marine resource projects. particularly commercial fishing. A total allocation of $1.8 million was made to support these sectors, with 118 grantees receiving assistance across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and the Family Islands. In New Providence, 62 grantees were supported, representing 52% of recipients. In Grand Bahama, 13 grantees were supported, representing 11%. Across the Family Islands, 43 grantees were supported, representing 36.5%. The grant support reached cooperatives, farmers, fishermen, and vendors engaged in preserves, coconut, peanuts, straw, and other productive enterprises. It supported the wider ecosystem of small Bahamian enterprise connected to agriculture, marine resources, crafts, processing, and community-based economic activity. For fishermen, this assistance helped developing and existing commercial operators invest in equipment, vessels, engines, and sustainable fishing methods. For farmers, it helped agricultural startups and existing producers expand operations, purchase essential resources, and improve productivity. For cooperatives, it strengthened resources and encouraged collaboration. Madam Speaker, that is how we build resilience from the ground up. We do not build strong sectors by supporting only those already established. We build strong sectors by helping ordinary Bahamians move from potential to production, from informal activity to structured enterprise, and from survival to growth. Madam Speaker, another crucial project advanced during this budget cycle was the National Agriculture Census Pilot Project, executed in partnership with the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, otherwise known as AACA, and the Bahamas National Statistical Institute, along with the Ministry and the Department of Agriculture, and supported through the IDB. This project addressed a significant national data gap. The Bahamas had not conducted a comprehensive agricultural census since 1994, for more than 3 decades. Policymakers, farmers, investors, and technical agencies operated without current, reliable national agricultural data. And this project was designed to modernize how we collect, manage, and use agricultural information to guide policy, to improve resource allocation, and to strengthen food security planning. It was implemented across Eleuthera, Abaco, and New Providence, using a mixed mode approach that included in-person interviews, telephone interviews, and digital tools through Agri Survey 123. In total, the project recorded 146 completed surveys, trained 22 enumerators, and successfully tested a digital platform capable of supporting future national rollouts. Madam Speaker, this project was not simply about collecting numbers. It was about building a modern, evidence-based foundation for the future of agriculture in our country. It tested digital registration, farmer mapping, survey instruments, data dashboards, geospatial analysis, and quality control systems. It also helped to identify practical challenges, including agricultural frame accuracy, stakeholder trust, appointment scheduling, enumerator training, and the need for stronger island-level coordination. One of the most important findings was that the technology is ready. The digital tools performed reliably, including in low connectivity islands. The primary areas requiring further strengthening are operational: farmer listings, coordination systems, training depth, stakeholder engagement, and quality assurance. That tells us that a full national census is feasible, technically sound, and achievable with proper preparation. The project also supported public education through the Food Security Starts With You campaign, which generated more than 84,000 views, 84,000, and expanded awareness beyond the ministry's existing audience. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank IACA for leading this project, particularly Ms. Marie Dunleavy and Ebony Yardley for their contribution to this important work. Madam Speaker, the ministry's Family Island Initiative continued in 2026, with important work being carried out in Cat Island in February of this year, where we were honored to have the member for Cat Island, Rumkey, and San Salvador with us, along with the member for Garden Hills, the Minister for Youth, Sports, and Culture, and our teams from BAIC, BAMSI, and the ministry. This visit included an appreciation breakfast for workers from BAIC and the Department of Agriculture. It included the official opening of the Department of Agriculture's office and the inaugural opening of the BAIC Fish Farm store in Cat Island. Why is this important? This was truly historic for farmers and fishermen on that island, Madam Speaker. They now have a permanent place to register, receive supplies, access technical guidance, and engage with the institutional support of the ministry. We were also pleased to visit the Arthurstown Comprehensive School, where students presented on their chicken project, supported through ministry donations. Both schools in Cat Island received a $2,500 voucher, redeemable at the newly opened Fish and Farm store, as part of a wider group of 30 schools that received similar support. The day concluded with a site visit to the upcoming Cultivation Center, which will feature a community kitchen. The equipment is already in country, and repairs to the roof of the parking house in Cat Island have been completed. Madam Speaker, by the end of this fiscal period, we expect 2 additional offices to be opened, along with the deployment of tractors, trucks, trailers, vessels, and other related support across islands such as Auckland, Cat Island, Exuma, San Salvador, Grand Bahama, Grand Key, and Farmers Key. Yeah. This is not a New Providence-only agenda. It is a national agenda. It is a family island development agenda. Madam Speaker, the ministry launched its Agriculture and Marine Cadet Program in October 2025, and this represents one of the most forward-looking initiatives of this ministry to date. So much so that we were even complimented for it by the Honorable Member for Marco City. To this date, the program has recruited over 160 registered cadets and continues to actively recruit. The program covers 12 high schools across 8 islands, with 4 schools in New Providence and others in Grand Bahama, Abaco, North and South Andros, Eleuthera, Exuma, Long Island, and Cat Island. Not a problem, come in zone. Because we live in an archipelago, the ministry has utilized Google Classroom to help participants keep up with lessons, projects, and learning resources across the islands. Students are being exposed to composting, the history of agriculture in the Bahamas, aquaponics, soil science, livestock, maintenance, and other practical areas. You see, this is exactly the kind of educational pipeline that food security requires, and it will act as a feeder program for BAMSI. Madam Speaker, what are we doing? We are shaping the next generation of leaders by equipping students with skills, discipline, teamwork, and a deeper understanding of agriculture and marine resources as industries and careers of opportunity and service. In doing so, we are planting seeds today that will bear fruits for decades to come. And I am pleased to advise that we have now partnered with my colleague, member for Seabreeze, to include our cadets who will be fully regaled and participating in this year's National Independence Parade. Madam Speaker, not to be left out, the Department of Cooperatives continue to support collective enterprise across the country. We began 2026 with 29 functioning registered cooperatives across Auckland, Andros, Cat Island, Crooked Island, Eleuthera, Exuma, Grand Bahama, Mayaguana, and New Providence. And since January, 2 new cooperatives have been registered: the Bahamas Coconut and Agroforestry Cooperative Society and the Exuma Unit Cooperative Society. This speaks to a heightened awareness of the value of cooperative enterprise. Cooperatives are deeply aligned with Bahamian tradition. They are about people pooling resources, sharing risk, building community, and doing business in a way that strengthens the whole. I encourage our cooperative societies to continue doing business the cooperative way. Madam Speaker, if I can now turn our attention to marine resources. The Department of Marine Resources has made steady progress in the fisheries management, interagency cooperation, and international standards. Our marine resources are amongst our most valuable national assets, providing food, employment, export earnings, cultural identity, and economic opportunity for thousands of Bahamians. The department's work included high-profile enforcement cases such as Red Dawn 1 and 2, which resulted in significant fines, vessel bonds, and the unprecedented use of multi-year fishing bans. These outcomes send a clear message: the Bahamas is serious about protecting its marine resource sector. More recently, Operation Dragnet underscored the importance of a strategic, multi-agency enforcement response. This operation brought together the ministry through the Department of Marine Resources in collaboration with Wild Aid, the Nature Conservancy, the Royal Bahamas Police Force, Bahamas Customs, Immigration, and the Ministry of Energy and Transport. The coordinated effort resulted in the seizure of a 65-foot sport fishing vessel, along with illegal fishing equipment, illegally caught fish, drugs, a firearm, and ammunition. Madam Speaker, this is not only a fisheries matter, it is a border protection matter, and it is also a national security matter. It is an economic justice for Bahamian fishermen who follow the law and depend on these resources for their livelihoods. We are also monitoring international developments affecting fisheries, with global trade discussions around tariffs and market access. The ministry has moved proactively to establish a special task force led by Chief Consultant Mr. Gregory Bethel to address potential impacts on marine exports. This is especially important because the spiny lobster fishery is our largest fishery. It employs thousands of Bahamians and remains one of the country's most significant edible export commodities. Madam Speaker, especially, truly enforcing. Madam Speaker, the ministry is also moving to address a long-standing workforce challenge in the commercial fishing sector. The need for dependable, trained, competent, and disciplined crew aboard Bahamian commercial fishing vessels, particularly in New Providence. After meeting with members of the Bahamas Commercial Fishing Vessels Owner Association, I am pleased to advise that the ministry, in conjunction with the Bahamas Commercial Fishing Vessels Owner Association and the Lowell J. Mortimer Academy, will shortly announce and commence a National Apprentice Commercial Fishing Training Program. This program is designed to strengthen the Bahamian commercial fishing workforce, improve safety standards through internationally recognized certification, develop practical job-ready maritime skills, increase youth participation in the fisheries sector, and support national economic development through workforce readiness. The LJM Marine Academy will serve as the primary agency responsible for program delivery, quality assurance, financial management, and reporting coordination of training providers, and compliance with the ministry's requirements. The program will integrate STCW Maritime Safety Certification, Seamanship and Vessel Operations, Marine Engineering Fundamentals, Fisheries Training, Dive Certification, HACCP Certification, and Fish Port Construction. This, Madam Speaker, this is how we prepare young Bahamians to not only enter the fishing sector, but to do so with discipline, safety, skill, and pride. Thank you. We're not just handing them fish. We don't want to just hand them fish. We want to teach them how to fish. Madam Speaker, the Department of Agriculture, under the leadership of Director Dr. Jason Sands, has made significant strides in strengthening support for farmers and communities across the Commonwealth. Farmer participation has increased through the Registered Farmers Program, ensuring that more farmers can access assistance, training, and support. Through collaboration with NGOs and technical partners, the department facilitated training in greenhouse management and organic fertilizer techniques. These production methods help farmers increase productivity, reduce waste, adapt to climate change, land availability, and input costs. The department's Food, Science, and Technology Lab also partnered with community kitchens, including those in Flamingo Gardens and Fox Hill, to teach residents how to produce food locally and extend the shelf life of crops. This is a practical approach to food security, preservation, and value-added production. The ministry also strengthened its Family Island presence by deploying additional extension officers and enhancing staff training. The department also collaborated with IACA, as I said earlier, to launch the pilot census in Abaco and Eleuthera, because data is central to modern policy. We cannot modernize agriculture, Madam Speaker, on guesswork. We need data, farmer registration, land use information, production trends, and reliable evidence to guide national development policy. Madam Speaker, I also wish to recognize that this year's National Agri-Expo, held in April, was once again a resounding success. The growing interest in Bahamian agriculture, local food production, and national food security was truly evident in the participation of farmers, fishers, producers, students, families, entrepreneurs, and stakeholders from across the country. This continued interest tells us, it truly tells us, that Bahamians are paying attention. They want to see more local food on their tables, more Bahamian products in our stores, and more opportunities for farmers, fishers, and producers to participate in the national economy. Madam Speaker, we are doing our part to ensure that we empower Bahamian farmers, fishers, and producers to help to achieve the goal of food security. Through training, grants, market access, data, youth engagement, enforcement, and commercialization, our ministry is building the ecosystem needed for Bahamian production to grow and for Bahamian producers to succeed. If I may touch on the public markets. Public markets across the Bahamas remains vital to the nation's food distribution system, cultural heritage, and micro-enterprise economy. Markets and fish fry areas connect farmers, fishers, artisans, food vendors, and small-scale entrepreneurs with residents, restaurants, and the tourism sector. And I am pleased to report that facility upgrades and improvement for Arawaki are being completed. These include restroom repairs, storage improvements, painting, rail repairs, plumbing rehabilitation, roof repairs, waterproofing, structural repairs, lighting improvements, fence repairs, gate works, and general refurbishment. Additionally, approval has been granted for an area designated to accommodate new souvenir stall spaces as a cultural activity space. Madam Speaker, when we invest in public markets, we invest in small business, culture, food, tourism, and community pride. I wish now to turn our attention to BAIC. Through BAIC, the ministry has increased connectivity between farmers, wholesalers, retailers, and consumers. This work is improving distribution, reducing inefficiencies, and expanding opportunities for locally grown and locally produced foods to reach markets more efficiently. The opening of BAIC Fish and Farm Store on Cat Island is a part of this wider strategy, and similar models in Andros and other islands strengthen the ability of producers to access input, technical support, and market connections closer to home. Under BAIC, the ministry is also advancing a more disciplined and market-driven approach through the development of a national crop schedule. This schedule is an operational blueprint to help reduce our national food import bill by focusing on production around priority crops with strong market demand. Crops including tomatoes, cabbages, onions, cucumbers, and sweet peppers. Rather than attempting to grow everything everywhere, the strategy aligns specific crops with the island's best position to produce them, including Andros, Grand Bahama, Abaco, Exuma. All this through science-based crop scheduling, staggering planting windows, protected agriculture, and stronger quality standards. We are working to ensure that farmers can supply wholesalers, retailers, resorts, restaurants, and consumers with a more consistent and reliable flow of Bahamian produce. Madam Speaker, let me say that again. With a more consistent and reliable flow of Bahamian produce. A key part of this strategy is the North Andros Commercialization Project, which began to take shape in 2024 when the ministry through BAIC brought farmers, wholesalers, retailers, and industry partners together to demonstrate what demand-based agriculture can look like in practice. That pilot initially engaged 8 farmers and focused on tomatoes, cabbage, cucumbers, zucchini, sweet potatoes, pumpkin, and onions. Several crop targets were actually met and even exceeded, proving that when Bahamian farmers are connected directly to market demand, production can increase and confidence can grow. For the 2026-27 production year, the ministry and BAIC are building on this model with clear production targets connected to market demand, including weekly targets for tomatoes, cabbages, sweet peppers, and cucumbers, as well as monthly targets for onions based on specific size requirements. Madam Speaker, this is a practical agricultural transformation. We are connecting farmers to buyers. We are aligning production with demand. We are improving quality standards. We are strengthening post-harvest handling and cold chain discipline. and we are creating a framework where Bahamian farmers can produce with greater certainty, knowing that real market opportunities are available where quality, consistency, and volume are achieved. Madam Speaker, during the midday break of Parliament today, our ministry will be hosting its second Food Security Starts Here showcase in Rawson Square. This mini expo will bring together farmers, fishers, producers, agencies, and stakeholders to highlight Bahamian agriculture and marine resources in action. It is another opportunity to demonstrate that food security starts with production, partnership, and national commitment. Madam Speaker, like I said from the outset, our ministry truly believes it is number one. But that's what we say. Now, let us take a look at what the Bahamas National Statistical Institute 2025 GDP data on agriculture, forestry, and fishing says. When this ministry committed itself to strengthening food security and revitalizing agriculture, some questioned whether investments would produce results. Today, the data provides the real answer. Real economic output in agriculture, forestry, and fishing increased from 50.1 million in 2022 to 91.1 million in 2025, an increase of nearly 82%. Madam Speaker, behind these numbers are Bahamian farmers, Bahamian fishermen, entrepreneurs, public servants, and communities who embrace the vision of building a more food-secure and self-reliant Bahamas. This is not simply GDP growth. Agriculture is now one of the fastest-growing productive sectors in the Bahamas. My team and I have been together, Madam Speaker, for a little over 3 years. And humbly, if I must say so myself, it truly was all good. It was good leadership on all fronts, starting with the Honorable Member for Cat Island, Rumkey, and San Salvador, who believed in what we were doing on behalf of the Bahamian people. I thank him, and I thank all of my colleagues in this honorable place, whose partnerships and memoranda of understanding helped make this happen. One team united in one goal: progress. Madam Speaker, this ministry believes in sustainability and resilience. We believe in progress with purpose. We believe agriculture and marine resources are not relics of the past, but are truly pillars of the future. Every initiative undertaken during this budget cycle reflects our commitment to building a resilient, inclusive, and sustainable sector. We are supporting farmers, fishermen, and creating pathways for students and entrepreneurs. We are protecting marine resources, expanding enforcement, improving public markets, strengthening family island access, and data and technology use to guide public policy. Madam Speaker, as I close, let me return to where I began. The people of Centerville. I thank them again for their overwhelming support, confidence, and partnership. They have given me the honor to continue serving, and I intend to serve them with everything I have. For Centerville, we will continue building. For our farmers and fishermen, we will continue delivering. For our family islands, we will continue to expand access. For our young people, we will continue to create opportunity. Madam Speaker, for our beautiful Bahamas, we will continue advancing food security, sustainability, and national resilience. Madam Speaker, to our people, this government cares. Our Prime Minister cares. The Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources cares. And you all know, even Long Island knows, Campbell case. With God, Madam Speaker, and continued prayers, we believe that agriculture and marine resources will positively live up to its full potential. May God bless the people of Centerville, and may God continue to bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The Chair recognizes the Honourable Member for Long Island.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you to the member for Centerville, former head boy of St. John's College. Madam Speaker, to the member for Centerville, I'd just like to know, does he have responsibility or carriage for the mailboat service throughout the archipelago under his ministerial portfolio? Transport? Okay, just wanted to, thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The Chair recognizes the Honourable Member for Fox Hill.
Madam Speaker, I have an unusual request here, but I think the rules require when something is brought to your attention that this should be done at the earliest possible opportunity, but I'd like a full opportunity to stand the actual details of this down at a particular, after the luncheon suspension, if it is possible. But two things have been brought to my attention. There are these articles in the Nassau Guardian about what happened in the House yesterday that are materially inaccurate. And there is an obligation in the laws of the country that if you are reporting what happens in the House, that you should report accurately what happened here. I would like to bring this to your attention now, and if after the luncheon break, if it is possible for me to address the matter more fully, please.
Thank you, Honourable Member. As many, the Chair recognizes the Honourable Member for North Andros.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, parliamentary colleagues, North Andros, and good morning, Bahamas. I rise today giving thanks and praise to the Almighty God, for it is by His grace, mercy, and favor that I stand in this honorable house. As the psalmist declares in Psalm 27, 1 verse 2, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even mine and enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Madam Speaker, those words remind us that when we place our trust in God, we need not fear the challenges before us. He has been our guide, our protector, our source of strength throughout every season. Before I proceed, before I proceed with my contributions, I would be remiss, Madam Speaker, if I did not acknowledge a few special individuals. First and foremost, I wish to thank you, my mother, Mrs. Lenora Jean Gray-Brennan, for her unwavering support, constant encouragement, and daily prayers that have brought me this far and continue to sustain me every step of the way. Mother, your sacrifices, wisdom, and faith have shaped the man I am today, and for that, I am eternally grateful. My mommy. To my four sons, Caden, Carter, Kimea, and Cameron, thank you for your patience, understanding, and sacrifice. Public service often requires long hours away from home, and I know that there were many moments when you wish Daddy could be there. Thank you for loaning Daddy to this progressive Liberal Party government and for another term of service to the Bahamian people. Know that everything I do is to help build a better Bahamas for your generation and those to come. And to my family at large, I say thank you. To Team Leo in North Andros, the hard-working men and women who knocked on doors, made calls, attended meetings, prayed, encouraged, and stood steadfast through every challenge. I say from the bottom of my heart, thank you, thank you, thank you. To every voter, supporter, volunteer, and resident of North Andros who placed their confidence in me, once again, I am humbled by your trust. I do not take your support for granted. I recognize that leadership is not about title, it is about service, accountability, and delivering results for the people we represent. Madam Speaker, I stand here today with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. The people who have spoken, and they have entrusted with me the responsibility of continuing the work of nation building, advancing progress, and improving the quality of life for all Bahamians. With that said, Madam Speaker, I now turn to my contribution. Madam Speaker, I rise here today on behalf of the great and hardworking people of North Andros, and I thank them for their resounding support in re-electing me as their Member of Parliament. I do not take their confidence lightly. Their support is not merely a political endorsement. It is a sacred trust. It is a mandate to serve, to represent, to listen, and to continue working every day to advance the interests of the people of North Andros and, by extension, the wider Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Madam Speaker, I also rise with deep gratitude to the Prime Minister, the Honourable Philip Edward Davis, for his faith and confidence he has placed in me to take up this mantle as the Minister of State for Agriculture and Marine Resources with the responsibility of the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute, known to the Bahamian people as BAMSI. This is a responsibility I accept with humility, discipline, and a clear understanding of the national importance of the work before us. BAMSI is central to the development of human capital, technical training, research, agriculture, education, marine science, and the future of food security in our nation. Madam Speaker, I also like to thank the Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources, the Honourable Jomo C. Campbell, the Member of Parliament for Centerville, two-time, for his leadership, partnership, and the vision in advancing a ministry that is serious about transforming agriculture and marine resources into a modern engines of growth, opportunity, resilience, and national development. Today, I speak specifically to the important work of being advanced through BAMSI, which falls under my ministerial responsibility. And I will also speak to the work of Bahamas Agriculture, Health, and Food Safety Authority, known as BASFA, as part of the widest ministry commitment to food safety, regulatory oversight, consumer protection, and institutional strengthening. Madam Speaker, when we speak about food security, we must understand that food security is not achieved by one project alone. It is built through institutions. It is built through training. It is built through standards. It is built through laboratories, farms, classrooms, research, regulation, extension services, and young Bahamians who are prepared to see agriculture and marine resources not as industries of the past, but as careers of the future. That is why BAMSI remains central to my area of responsibility in this budget cycle, while BASFA remains an important part of the widest ministry institutional framework for food, safety, standards, and consumer protection. BAMSI speaks to human capital, technical capacity, research training, and development of the next generation. BASFA speaks to public health, food safety, plant and animal health, consumer protection, and the credibility of our food system at home and abroad. Madam Speaker, let me take a moment. As you can see next to me, I don't have trophies, but I brought some other good, which really essential to the body. Food, the lifeline to our being. And Madam Speaker, I would allow colleagues to, you want a watermelon? Watermelon gone, so as we have time, Madam Speaker, we take a break to make sure that they feast themselves. Together with these institutions, help demonstrate the series of work being undertaken by the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources to build a stronger, safer, more productive, and a more resilient Bahamian food economy. Madam Speaker, BAMSI continues to be a national asset. It is one of the most significant investments this country has made in the future of agriculture, marine science, food systems education, research, and technical training. It is work tied directly to the national objective of reducing our dependence on import food, increasing local production, strengthening family island development, and preparing Bahamians to participate meaningfully in the agriculture and marine economies. For too long, agriculture has been viewed through a narrow lens. Too often, our people have been made to believe that agriculture is only about the past, But, Madam Speaker, this administration understands that agriculture is also about the future. Agriculture is science. Agriculture is business. Agriculture is technology. Agriculture is climate resilience. Agriculture is entrepreneurship. Agriculture is national development. BAMSI is central to that new national understanding. Madam Speaker, I am especially pleased to recognize that BAMSI recorded record enrollment last year. This is not a small achievement. It is a powerful signal that more Bahamians, particularly our young people, are beginning to see agriculture, marine science, environmental stewardship, food production, and agribusiness as serious pathways to employment, entrepreneurship, and national service. This record enrollment speaks to renewed confidence in the institution. It speaks to the growing relevance of BAMSI's mandate. It speaks to the fact that when we invest in institutions that train Bahamians for the real needs of the country, the Bahamians respond. Madam Speaker, record enrollment also tells us that the narrative is changing. Our young people are beginning to understand that agriculture and marine science are not second-tier options. They are strategic sectors. They are sectors of innovation. They are sectors of opportunity. They are sectors where Bahamians can lead, own, produce, export, and build generational value. That is the transformation we are working toward. Madam Speaker, we also recently opened BAMSI's dormitory cluster classroom, expanding BAMSI's capacity for the future. This development is a major step forward in strengthening the institution's ability to house, train, and prepare more students. It improves the learning environment. It expands residential capacity. It supports a more complete campus experience. Most importantly, it positions BAMSI to meet the growing demand for education and training in agriculture and marine science. This expansion is not simply about buildings. It is about national capacity. It is about creating space for more Bahamians to be trained. It is about giving students the environment they need to learn, innovate, conduct practical work, and see themselves as a part of the future food production and marine resource management in the Bahamas. For a country like ours, Madam Speaker, where geography can create barriers to opportunity, the expansion of BAMSI dormitory capacity is particularly important. Students from across the Family Islands must be able to access training without being limited by distance, housing, or logistics. These dormitory and classroom clusters help remove those barriers. They strengthen BAMSI's role as a national institution serving the entire Commonwealth, and they demonstrate this government commitment to ensuring that opportunity is not confined to one's island or one community. Madam Speaker, BAMSI growth is directly aligned with the government's wider vision for national development. If we are serious about food security, we must be serious about training. If we are serious about reducing our import bill, we must be serious about production. If we are serious about empowering Bahamian farmers, fishermen, food processors, and agri-entrepreneurs, we must be serious about building the institution that prepare them. BAMSI is one of those institutions. During this budget cycle, BAMSI has continued to support the ministry's national agenda through training, institutional collaboration, and direct engagement with communities. Its presence alongside the ministry Family Island Outreach Initiative reflects a deliberate strategy. We are not keeping knowledge centralized in New Providence. We are moving technical support, practical education, and agricultural opportunity into communities where productions can grow. Madam Speaker, this is particularly important for Family Islands development. The Family Islands are not peripheral to our food security strategy. They are central to it. They have the land, they have the heritage, they have the people, they have the potential. What they require is sustained institutional support, technical guidance, access to markets, access to training, and the confidence that the government is serious about developing agriculture and marine resources beyond words. BAMSI helps to provide that support. BAMSI and the next generation. Madam Speaker, BAMSI also work connects directly to the development of the next generation of Bahamians, producers, scientists, technicians, entrepreneurs, and leaders. Its mandate complements the ministry's broader youth development strategy, including agriculture and marine cadet program, which is launched in October 2025 and has already recruited 163 registered cadets across 12 high schools and 8 family islands. This program represents a clear pipeline for the classroom to the farm, from the shoreline to the laboratory, from the youthful interest to career opportunity. Through digital learning tools such as Google Classroom, students are receiving access to resources on composting, soil science, aquaponics, livestock maintenance, the history of agriculture in the Bahamas, and other practical areas of study. Madam Speaker, this matters because national transformation requires continuity. If we want food security tomorrow, we must train producers today. If we want stronger marine protection tomorrow, we must inspire marine stewards today. If we want modern agriculture tomorrow, we must expose our students to the tools, disciplines, and technologies of modern agriculture today. BAMSI work is not isolated. It complements the ministry's broader school agriculture support, including vouchers and assistance being extended to schools' engagement in agriculture projects. These investments are helping students move from theory to practice. They are helping schools become sites of production, experimentation, and confidence building. They are also helping to restore dignity to the work of growing, harvesting, processing, and protecting what belongs to us. Madam Speaker, we must continue to tell our young people that there is dignity in production. There is dignity in farming. There is dignity in marine science. There is dignity in research. There is dignity in food processing. There is dignity in building a nation that feeds more of itself. That is the message BAMSI carries, and that is the message this government continues to advance. Madam Speaker, the government's investment in BAMSI is an investment in skills, sovereignty, and sustainability. It is an investment in a Bahamian workforce that can support commercial farming, food processing, marine science, agribusiness, research, extension services, and the wider blue and green economies. In a changing world, small island development states like the Bahamas cannot afford to be passive. We cannot afford to simply import more and produce less. We cannot afford to leave our food security entirely at the mercy of global supply chains, foreign markets disruptions, shipping costs, climate events, or international price shocks. We must build domestic capacity. BAMSI is a critical part of that capacity. Through training, research, and applied learning, BAMSI helps prepare Bahamians to respond to the practical challenges facing our country. These include climate change, soil management, crop diversification, livestock development, marine sustainability, food processing, technology adoption, and the business of side agriculture. Madam Speaker, this is how institutions become engines of transformation. They do not merely teach, they prepare. They do not merely certify, they empower. They do not merely exist, they serve the national interest. That is the role BAMSI must continue to play. And with record enrollment, expanding campus capacity, and renewed national focus, BAMSI is better positioned to help carry this country into the next phase of agriculture and marine development. Madam Speaker, the Davis administration firmly believes that the most valuable resource of any nation is its human capital, its people. As such, the welfare, development, and well-being of the employees of BAMSI remain a top priority for me as Minister of Responsibility for BAMSI. Madam Speaker, as the Board of Directors and Management of BAMSI continue to work collaboratively to improve the terms and conditions of employment for staff, I am pleased to report that the following a general staff meeting held at the campus in Andros, attended by the Permanent Secretary and the Chairman of the Board, immediate steps were taken to address several concerns raised regarding work conditions in North Andros. The swift response by the BAMSI management team demonstrates the seriousness in which the board regards the needs and concerns of its employees. It is a clear indication that our people remain at the center of the Institute's growth and development strategy. Furthermore, Madam Speaker, as Minister with responsibility for BAMSI, I wish to reassure all employees that I will take urgent steps to ensure that every eligible employee is afforded the opportunity to participate in a pension plan scheme. This initiative will provide an additional measure of financial security upon retirement, supplementing their income and helping them maintain a dignified quality of life and standard of living after years of dedicated service. Madam Speaker, investing in our people is investing in the future of BAMSI and the future of the Bahamas. We improve the lives of our workers, we strengthen our institution and build a more resilient nation. That, Madam Speaker, is progress. Madam Speaker, animal control remains a focal point of this ministry. Through renewed advocacy from activists and persons who know the value in loving and adopting animals, we are partnering to resolve those age-old matters, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I now turn to BASRA, an agency whose work is essential to the credibility and safety of our food system. While BAMSI falls directly under my ministerial responsibility, I am pleased to speak in this communication to the work of BASRA as a part of the wider ministry institutional framework for food safety, public health, consumer protection, and a regulatory oversight. As we encourage more Bahamians to produce food, process food, package food, sell food, export food, and participate in a formal economy, we must also ensure that food safety systems keep pace with growth. Production with standards is not enough. Expansions without regulation is not enough. Market access without consumer confidence is not enough. A modern food economy must be built on trust. That is where BASRA plays a vital role. Madam Speaker, this year marked a major milestone with the launch of the region's first mobile laboratory through BASRA. This is more than just a vehicle. It is a policy statement. It says that science must go where the people are. It says that regulation must be practical, responsive, and accessible. It says that producers and consumers across our islands deserve the same standard of protection, whether they are in Nassau, Grand Bahama, Abaco, Eleuthera, Andros, Cat Island, Exuma, Long Island, or any other island, including Bimini and the Berry Islands. The mobile laboratory enhances food safety monitoring, expands on-site testing capabilities, and strengthens regulatory oversights across the islands. This is particularly important in an archipelagic nation where movement, storage, shipping, temperature control, pest management, plant health, animal health, and border protection all affect the safety and reliability of the national food supply. Madam Speaker, BAFTA is also central to trade readiness. As the Bahamian continues to develop its agriculture and fisheries sector, our producers must be able to meet standards that consumers, retailers, hotels, restaurants, wholesalers, and export market can trust. Food safety is not a bureaucratic burden. It is a gateway to opportunity. It protects the consumer, but is also produced by building confidence in Bahamian goods. A progressive food system cannot be built on production alone. It must be built on standards. It must be based on traceability. It must be built on testing. It must be built on inspection. It must be built on public trust. BAFRA is at the center of that framework. For local farmers and food producers, improved food safety systems help create pathways to formal markets. For fishermen and marine exporters, strong inspections and regulatory systems support access to commercial buyers and international markets. For consumers, these systems provide the assurance that food placed on Bahamian tables is subject to oversight that is modern, science-based, and increasingly mobile. Madam Speaker, the launch of the mobile laboratory also represents a more efficient model of public service delivery. Instead of waiting for all matters to be brought to a centralized point, the ministry is increasing the ability of agency to move into communities, gather data, test where necessary, respond quickly, and strengthen compliance on the ground. This approach is especially important for family island communities, where access to centralized service can create delays and additional cost burdens. Madam Speaker, when we view BAMSI and BASFRA together within the wider work of the ministry, we can see the larger policy architecture taking shape. BAMSI helps build the people. BASFRA helps protect the system. BAMSI supports training, research, and youth development, technical capacity, and innovation. BASFRA supports safety, standards, compliance, inspections, and public confidence. Together, they strengthen the foundation for a more productive, more resilient, and more trusted Bahamian food economy. This is the kind of institutional alignment required for national growth. It is not enough to ask farmers to produce more. We must train them, support them, regulate fairly, provide technical assistance, improve market access, protect consumers, and ensure that public institutions work in coordination. Madam Speaker, this is the direction being advanced by the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources under the leadership of the Honorable Jomo C. Campbell. It is a direction rooted in food security, but is also in dignity. It is rooted in sustainability, but is also in opportunity. It respects the history of Bahamian farming and fishing while preparing these sectors for new generation of Bahamian ownership and innovation. As Minister of State with responsibility for BAMSI, I am committed to strengthening BAMSI as a national institution for training, research, innovation, agriculture development, and marine science. I am also pleased to recognize the importance of work being advanced by BASFRA within the wider ministry framework, particularly as it relates to food safety, public health, consumer protection, and market confidence. Madam Speaker, this work is not abstract. It affects the farmer who wants to increase production. It affects the students who wants a career in agriculture and marine science. It affects the food processor who wants to enter the formal market. It affects the fisherman who wants to access to better commercial opportunities. It affects the mother and father who wants to know that the food placed before their children is safe. This is why institutional strengthening matters. This is why training matters. This is why food safety matters. This is why BAMSI matters. This is why BASFRA matters. And this is why the work of the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources is so central to the future of the Bahamas. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, the work ahead is significant, but the direction is clear. We are building the institutions that food security requires. We are investing in the people who will carry this sector forward. We are strengthening the safeguards that protect families and markets. We are expanding BAMSI's capacity for the future. We are recognizing the growing interest of Bahamian in agricultural and marine science education. We are supporting a modern food safety framework, and we are advancing a progressive national agenda that recognizes agriculture, marine resources, and pillars of resilience, sovereignty, and economic growth. Madam Speaker, I again thank the people of North Andros for their confidence, their support, and their continued partnership. I thank the Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Edward Davis, for his trust he has placed in me to serve as the Minister of State for Agriculture and Marine Resources with responsibility for BAMSI. I thank Minister Jomo Campbell again for his leadership and collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources. I thank the leadership, the faculty, the staff, and those who are here, and the students of BAMSI for their commitment to building a stronger future. And Madam Speaker, let's permit me, as I close, one more minute. I just would like to recognize those who had came in after our announcement of the minister. Could this section of all, I wouldn't call names, all those who are part of the ministry, could you please stand that we recognize you guys? Humbly, please, thank you. Thank you very much. And I recognize the important work of Bafra and his team, whose efforts continues to strengthen food safety, consumer protection, and public confidence across our islands. Madam Speaker, together we are not merely managing institutions. We are building capacity. We are protecting the public. We are preparing the next generation. We are expanding opportunities. We are helping to secure the future of the Bahamas. I thank you, Madam Speaker. Not Andres rest.
Thank you, Honorable Member. As many? Rashad, he get the one, man. Thank you.
Good, Mike.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Michael.
Good, Michael. Morning, Madam Speaker.
Good morning.
I stand here today to represent what I believe is the greatest constituency of the entire Bahamas.
Yes.
Michael,
Yes. To the world.
Maguana, Inagua, Crooked Island, Aucklands,
Yeah.
and Long Key. A constituency not made up of thousands of people, but yet a resilient few who pride themselves on the vigor, the strength depicted through and strong colors of our Bahamian flag. The strength for me is understood through the expression of my father, the late Senator John Lee Ferguson, who laid the foundation in 2002, vying to represent his people, my people, in the exact same constituency. Today I stand on his shoulders, blessed to sit in his honorable house. I dedicate this moment, this space, these expressions to the legacy of a proud Auckland's man who, like many within my constituency, rose out of the Cascarilla fields, salt ponds, blue holes, and salinas to build a strong Bahamas. In this new journey, strangers became friends. Friends became family. And I honor the people of Michael today. And as I do so, I must acknowledge that we have lost many great men and women along the way. Miss Alma Benaby, Aucklands. Mr. Gregory Hanna, Aucklands. Miss Christina Hanna, Aucklands. Mr. Delano Super D. Gibson, Inagua. Mr. Leroy Vincent Ferguson, Inagua. Mr. Preston Cunningham, Crooked Island. And Mr. Troy Gibson of Maguana. Madam Speaker, I want, with your leave, ma'am, to send condolences to the bereaved families on behalf of the Honorable House and the Bahamian people. May their souls rest in peace. Amen. Madam Speaker, allow me to take you on a walking tour of Michael, Maguana, Inagua, Crooked Island, Aucklands, and Long Key. Mere words are an injustice to the picturesque landscape nestled within these islands that boast of natural bluffs, untouched sandy beaches that will take your breath away. This pristine territory that is uncultivated and exposes the duality of both challenge and potential, beauty and burden, opposition and opportunity. Michael, Madam Speaker, is indeed a case study on the economy, geography and population, Michael is huge in landmass, but sparsely populated. It stretches across 300 miles of ocean in the southeast Bahamas. Total population, roughly 2,000 to 2,500 people spread within. Inagua being the largest, 1,000 people. Home of Matthew Town and the Salt Company, the biggest employer in the South. Meguana, 300 people, known for world-class bone fishing and wide-open beaches. Auckland, 700 people, fishing, farming villages such as Snug Corner and Selena Point. Crooked Island, 300 people, private community, landing hub, and a vibrant tourist industry. Long Key, population 4. But the place I would readily call home as the natural beauty unseen by many. The islands are flat, dry, hurricane exposed. Fresh water is scarce. You can't drive from one island to the next. You fly or take a mailboat. Economically, Michael runs on 3 things: salt, fish, and government. Inagua Salt Plant exports sea salt worldwide. It's the economic anchor for the entire constituency. When there are economic cuts, whether by budgets or shifts, the South will feel it. Fisheries. Bowen fishing lodges in Meguana, Crooked Island, and Auckland attracts eco-tourists from around the world. Commercial fishing for crawfish, conch, and grouper sustains families. This ties directly to the marine resources, part of national security and economic plan. Government services such as teachers, nurses, police, and administrators are major employers. Mailboat subsidies and airport upgrades are treated as economic lifelines. Agriculture is small, scaled. Backyard gardens, some livestock, even cassava. Water and shipping costs make large farming hard. The government's push to improve water systems in Auckland is meant to change that. Infrastructure and connectivity. This is where Michael's problems show up. Small airports on all 4 inhabited islands promise upgrades of runways, terminals, make travel safer, but flights are still infrequent and expensive. The mailboat is everything. It brings food, fuel, building materials, and takes fish and produce to the north. The effect from most minor delays hit fast, cut deep, and affect everyone. Power and water. Diesel generators dominates. The government's microgrid and renewable energy push targets Michael to cut costs, a welcome initiative. Water catchment and new reverse osmosis promise for Auckland is needed. Hurricanes. The island are on a hurricane highway of the Bahamas and have received damages in the last 3 years while still rebuilding from a hurricane Ike some 8 years ago. That's why infrastructure is now framed as a national security issue. Social security issues, out-migration. The younger people are leaving in search of opportunities in the more northern islands because of jobs and secondary education are limited. That hollows out our labor force, and ultimately the legacy of these islands are threatened. Crime, not the level of Nassau, but smuggling routes run through the South. The Defense Force and police presence should be increased under the new National Security Plan. Healthcare and education. Clinics are on each island, but serious cases go to Nassau due to understaffing or being ill-equipped. High schools do exist, but many students head for Nassau for the 11th and 12th grade to be given a proper leverage in the national examination against their counterparts. To address these major areas is to give consideration to a Michael that deserves to have a seat at the table and say in what happens nationally. We are on the map of the Bahamas. We matter in the bigger scheme of things. Why does MyCal matter nationally? MyCal is 20% of the Bahamian territory, but less than 1% of the population. Politically, it's a bellwether for family island policy. Economically, it's a test of whether the Bahamas can diversify beyond Nassau and Grand Bahama. If the government can make energy cheaper, water reliable, and transport consistent, MyCal, the model scales now to the other family islands. In short, MyCal is remote, resilient, the resource rich in fish and salt. Its future depends on whether infrastructure investment finally catches up with its geography. The islands of MyCal, 5 islands with 5 unique, distinct needs, which requires good governance with opportunities. A bipartisan approach. I'll say it again, a bipartisan approach. Amen. Where consultants actually provide tangible reports to improve the government's ability to provide a service that benefits the people. Where insight creates proactive systems, ensuring maximization of resources and correlation to cost efficacy. Where the Bahamian people comes first and politics secondary. Madam Speaker, the future of the Bahamas lies within the municipality of the constituency of MyCal. Growing industries, sustainable economy, energy reform, and investment in a human capital. Madam Speaker, putting MyCal on the map. The challenges facing our islands demand more than slogans. They demand a blueprint of intentional focus, a blueprint of mobility, accessibility, and progress. Y'all should like that word. Mobilization is about harnessing our human capital, a home and abroad, and aligning it with a clear development strategy. It means creating unified teams across the MyCal diaspora. It means representation and inclusion at the national planning level. So then when the budget is written and decisions are made in Nassau, MyCal has that seat at the table. It means supporting and facilitating foreign direct investment that respects our communities. It means structured business mentorship for every aspiring entrepreneur on MyCal. And it means community-based initiatives, including cooperative models that build stability and sustainability across the settlements. Accessibility ensures that MyCal is no longer isolated. We will be integrated economically, digitally, and physically. That means strong, sustained green energy solutions so that we can finally break free from diesel dependence and the power bills that are crushing our families. That means Southern Bahamas distribution center for meat, fresh produce, and dairy products right here in our region. That means real connectivity and modern technology infrastructure. That means stronger ports and expanded air and sea transport so that getting to Matthewtown, getting to Acklands, getting to McGuana is no longer a battle for every Bahamian to fight. Progress equates to equipping people, especially our young people, with the tools to compete, to create, to lead. That means STEM programs, starting at an elementary level. Don't tell me a child from Spring Point cannot become our next great engineer. We will give that child a foundation. That means entrepreneurial training, support, and mentorship for every Bahamian who has ever wanted to start something of their own. That means skill discovery and exposure programs that show our young people what is possible and move them that they can build futures right here at home. How does the government tackle the economy, instability in the Southern Bahamas? With a mixture of infrastructure investment, cost relief, and programs aimed at making islands less dependent on Nassau. The big challenge is still small populations, high costs, the distance. So the approach is pretty targeted. Lower cost of living and doing business. Give the people something that they could feel. Madam Speaker, I stand before this honorable House, and I want to thank the present government for their contributions to the people of Michael. Our plights could easily have been ignored or forgotten. Presenting a fiscal budget for 26-27, which addresses critical needs such as infrastructure, public investment project, completion of roadworks in Inagua and Crooked Island, cost of $2,893,561. A drainage system in Inagua, alleviating the flooding issue and infrastructure improvement works, $3,085,528. A marine dock, Crooked Island, commitment of initial investment of $500,000, totaling over 3 years, $5 million. Renovation of the administration building in Inagua, initial investment, $500,000, totaling $6.6 million over the period further than 3 years. Airport upgrades, Crooked Island and Auckland, public-private partnership construction of airport in Inagua in conjunction with the Lusker Salt Group. Welfare of the residents, completed construction of Crooked Island, Auckland and Maguana clinics, commitment of $600,000, $1.5 million, and $1 million next year, respectively. Total investment over $9 million for the period of 2027. The people of Michael thank you. I thank you. But there's an adage, a promise is a comfort to a fool. Projects such as the Inagua Administrative Building, the Inagua Comprehensive School, and the Crooked Island Roads, and the Auckland's Clinic have been mentioned in previous budgets. However, remain incomplete or never begun. So please, on behalf of the people of Michael, no empty promises. As my esteemed colleague and cousin, the Honorable V. Alfred Gray would say, fix it. Note, I will be holding the record and account to the people of Michael. Madam Speaker, there's a lot more to be done. Port of entry status reinstated for Maguana, Crooked Island, and Auckland. Construction of seawalls, structural repairs to boat ramps and fishing stations, docking facility, Long Key, community park upgrades, hurricane shelter construction, revision of the Local Government Act, 20 years as a contractual worker, and yet you're not permanent and pensionable. As a matter of fact, on-time payments for local government vendors. The people of Maguana, lights are being turned off today, and meanwhile, they've not been paid from February. Special deployment of adequate teachers to the district, inclusive of special need teachers. BTC service upgrade throughout Auckland, especially Selena Point, where there's no service. Urban renewal upgrades, targeting the vulnerable and elderly. Construction of country roads, providing accessibility to the out islands, entire island. Expansion of the cascarilla industry for industrial and medicinal purposes. Mass production of the cascarilla oil used in perfume manufacturing. The work starts now. Energy reform. Diesel-generated power is expensive on small grids. Let's continue to push micro-solar grids and initiatives that are needed sooner rather than later. Family Islands has to cut electricity costs. Cheaper power equals lower cost for households and businesses. Renewable energy is one of the Bahamas government's biggest plays in the southern Bahamas right now. High electricity costs stagnates the growth of any potential gained by our islands. The government is rolling out micro solar grids for family islands, inclusive of Inagua, Maguana, Auckland's Crooked Island. Great idea. Replace or supplement diesel generators with solar or battery storage. This cuts fuel imports, lower power bills for homes and businesses, and makes the grid more hurricane resilient. For small islands with low peak demand, Microgrids are cheaper, and then building a transmission line from Nassau. MyCal is on the list, but my question is, how long before we see results? Madam Speaker, Southern Islands pay exorbitant electricity rates in the Bahamas. Lowering costs has the biggest impact on affordability and business growth. Small scale equals faster rollout. It's easier to install a microgrid for 300 people on Maguana than retrofit a small subdivision on the Nassau New Providence grid. This initiative has ecotourism alignment. Lower energy costs and cleaner power make eco lodges and small hotels more viable, which ties into government's ecotourism push, funding the local benefit. The Family Island Development Fund is used to reinvest locally, generating revenue for these projects. PTVI is also training students and residents in solar installation and maintenance, so the jobs stay at home. Our current status is on daily power cuts. Our current status of daily power cuts and power bills, which makes a small family choose necessity over comfort, has to be resolved. Yes. Solar microgrids are scheduled, but the rollout is phased. Priority goes to islands with the highest diesel cost and the greatest need for economic stimulus. Bottom line, the government strategy for the South is decentralized renewables. Instead of one big power plant, we should all bet on solar microgrids, boost resilience, and make it cheaper to live and do business in MyCal. Yes. Madam Speaker, give us a break on taxes. Life is already difficult. Tax relief on essentials. Creation of a VAT-free zone that allows free trade with our international neighbors. These programs help greatly where import costs are already exorbitant. Mail-bill subsidies, over $12 million in subvention, budgeted to keep mail-bills running to the South. With that, create and enforce fixed tariff rates, making goods affordable. Improve connectivity to unlock trade and tourism. Airport upgrades. New runways and terminals for Crooked Island, Auckland, and Inagua. It's just the tip of the iceberg. Include better airlift, which means more visitors, easier cargo, less isolation. The Family Island Development Fund, where revenue generated should be reinvested locally with the mindset of taking care of yourself. The idea creates the capital to fund roads, clinics, and small projects without waiting on Nassau. Create local jobs, skills utilizing BTVI and BAMSI expansion, more technical and vocational training, slots so Southern residents can be certified locally instead of leaving to go to Nassau or Andros. The goal is to fill specialty jobs with Bahamians reducing reliance on work permits. Tourism and fishing support. Bonefish, ecotourism, and small-scale fisheries are key in the South. The government can support these initiatives through marketing, infrastructure, and hurricane recovery funds. Build a resilience to the economy. Shocks that are felt at great rate and frequency in MyCal. Ecotourism in the Southern Bahamas is still small compared to Nassau Exuma, but that's why it works. The islands are quiet, untouched, packed with natural assets. The government is pushing this initiative hard. But let's be intentional in our planning, because if it fits the island-by-island development model, low impact, high value, keeps the money local, that's what ecotourism should look like in the South. Inagua, home of the national bird. Inagua got the largest breeding colony of the West Indian flamingos in the world at the Inagua National Park. Bird watching is a main draw. The Bahamas Salt Company ponds create a wetland that attracts the migratory bird. Guided tours through the area creates jobs. Educate the people as to the diversity of the bird population and the fragility of which our ecosystem that we live. Diving and boat fishing, MyCal has pristine reefs and flats, fewer boats than in the north. However, let's meet the challenges head on. Accommodations. but that's an appeal to the Echo Traveler. McGuana Bone Fishing Flats considered some of the best in the Bahamas, and it's catch and release. Wild beaches and dunes, Long Bay Key and Booby Key, areas that are untouched. No big resort, just small lodges and guest houses. McGuana beaches are nesting areas for turtles and iguanas. Echo tours focus on conservation education. Auckland's and Crooked Island schooner keys and shallow banks, perfect for kayaking, snorkeling, and bird watching. The water is clear and shallow. Low impact. Historical sites, ruins of cotton plantations, fishing communities, giving you cultural and ecotourism angles. Partnerships with Michael Sustainability Council can assist in achieving these goals, as the development plan is near completion. Emphasis placed on the Family Island Development Fund, revenue generated locally, stay local, so eco lodges and guides can reinvest. PTVI training programs are expanded to include hospitality and guiding certifications for Family Island residents. Why it matters for economic stability. Ecotourism needs less capital than big resorts. Create jobs for guides, boat operators, guest house operators, and doesn't depend on cruise ship for the South. That's key. It builds a sustainable economy without overdeveloping the islands. The catch is connectivity and marketing. Most travelers still don't know Inagua and McGuana exist. Most travelers doesn't know Crooked Island exists. The government's bet should to include airlift and targeted eco marketing that will attract the right kind of visitor, smaller groups, high-end spender, low impact. Water system upgrades, reliable water, health costs, and support small businesses. In 2026, the choice should not be between hygiene and harvest. The upgrades will provide a sustained supply that is necessary for basic human needs. Hurricane recovery and infrastructure funding available to rebuild homes, roads, and public buildings in Crooked Island and Auckland. A real physical strategy. If the government of today is running a surplus and using debt savings to free up money for Family Island services, this creates less interest on national debt, which equals more room to fund clinics, roads, and schools in the South. These are long-term fixes. The Southern Islands still face out-migration of young people, limited private investment, and hurricane risk. The bet the government should consider is lower energy cost, plus better connectivity, plus local training equals more economic activity, and the people will invest in home. Madam Speaker, I have served the Bahamian people for 30 years as a police officer, recently retired. Discipline is the foundation and the catalyst that creates the synergy necessary to foster teamwork and attain the necessary results that the Bahamian people demand. Madam Speaker, our national security is not limited to the uniformed branches, but is the responsibility of every citizen. We as a nation have to look within ourselves and be the example of which we want to experience. We have to hold ourselves and the government accountable. No more ignoring issues, quoting the Bahamian saying, I will drink tea and mind my business that have nothing to do with me. Madam Speaker, we will question, we will research, we will become informed. For this country, Madam Speaker, it's all that we have. We will protect and preserve it for future generations. Provide a foundation our people and our children and grandchildren can rely on. I am proud of my services to the Bahamian people, Madam Speaker. I have left no stone unturned, treated people equally, brought a fairness to the law, serving the people of Inagua for the last 4 years, a detachment I didn't even care for initially. But as we know, I fell in love with my surroundings, I fell in love with the people, and ascended to the rank, ultimately becoming the officer in charge. And now I stand here in this honorable house. Now to the people of Maikal, McGuana, Inagua, Crooked Island, Auckland, and Long Key. You live at the edge of the map, but you are not the edge of what matters. You are the southern anchor of the Bahamas. The country starts with you. Life in Michael may ask a lot. The mailboat could be late. The power could flicker. The rain doesn't always come when you need it. But it also gives you something the rest of the world is trying to get back. Community, resilience, and a deep knowledge of the sea and the land. When a storm hits, you don't have to wait for someone to come save you. You board up, you check on your neighbor, you rebuild. That strength is what real progress looks like. The Bahamas is looking south again. The island by island plan means real investment in water, energy, airports, security for Michael. Solar projects to lower your light bill. Upgrades to keep your clinics open. Support your fishing and farming. Small business so young people do not have to leave home for a life. This isn't charity. It's because the country knows it can't move forward if the South is left behind. To the fishers of Auckland, the salt workers of Inagua, the farmers of Crooked Island, the families of Maguana and Long Key, your work feeds and fuels this nation. To the teachers, nurses, administrators, young people staying, learning, and leading, you are proving that small population doesn't mean small ambition. Keep building. Keep believing that Crooked Island, Maguana, Inagua, Long Key, and Auckland are not places to leave behind, but places to invest. The world is hungry for what you already know. How to live with the land, how to look out for each other, how to turn a little into a lot. As we say in the Bahamas, every mickle make a muckle. The future of the Bahamas is not in Nassau. It's in Landrell Point, Colonel Hill, Abrahams Bay, Hard Hill, Snug Corner, Matthew Town, and every settlement across Michael. Keep pushing forward. Slowly, slowly, sweetie pie. But never stop moving. The country is behind you. The best of Michael is still ahead of you. And I thank you for your support, and I thank you for the opportunity to serve you. Madam Speaker, we the people of Michael, we know the meaning of neglect. We have faced times of desperation, but we survive. Today is the day that change comes. We want to be a part of the Bahamian dream, where hard work pays off, where consistency equals prosperity, where opportunity results in generational wealth. The sun now shines on Michael, and we shall reap the reward. May God bless the people of Michael and the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
I almost thought Freetown had a good maiden speech, but Michael, you came here and knocked it out of the... Thank you, Honorable Member Asmini.
Oh, yeah, let me get ready.
The chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Elizabeth.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker,
Put my mic to in case you need
I must say, what a progressive maiden speech. Spoke a lot about the blueprint, the progress.
All true.
Sound like he read it.
I think so.
Madam Speaker, as I rise today to make my contribution to the 2026-2027 budget debate in this honorable House, I am privileged to stand here, firstly, because of the guidance of the Almighty God.
Amen.
I am reminded of God's promise in Isaiah 41, which says, and I quote, "Fear not, for I am with you.
Oh, Lord.
Be not dismayed. For I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand. This scripture gives me the reassurance, Madam Speaker, that the same God who upheld me from birth is still holding me in public service.
That's right.
Indeed, I am not alone. Secondly, it is because of the trust of the people of the great constituency of Elizabeth. The best constituency in the entire world. It's because of them that I sit in this honorable house again.
Joe bet or no bet.
Joe bet or no bet. In the recently concluded general election, Madam Speaker, I have been fortunate to have significantly increased not only my vote share, but also my margin victory. This observation is not only a testament to the work done in the constituency by my team and I, but also a reminder that constituency representation and national leadership must be impactful and uplifting.
That's right.
To the people of Elizabeth, I pledge
Yes, we pledge.
to continue to be an active and present member of Parliament and to work diligently to address concerns and provide opportunities. Madam Speaker, behind every public official is a team who make the job easier. Without a doubt, I have one of the hardest working, most dedicated teams, both at the ministry and the constituency level. Thank you to my team at the ministry who give their all to make our collective efforts meaningful and impactful for the Bahamian people. To my permanent secretary, undersecretary, board members, authorities, agencies, department leaders, supervisors, staff, and custodians, I thank you for the work that you do. Thank you to my team, Joe Bet or No Bet.
That's right.
Team Elizabeth.
What a truth.
And the constituency teams for standing and walking with me through it all, Madam
right.
Speaker.
God is good.
They
Let 'em know.
stood with me.
That's right.
Some of my team members were new this time around, and many of them have been at my side since the very beginning. To the greatest campaign generals I never knew I had, my incredible Elizabeth kids, who proudly chanted Joe Bet or No Bet in the schoolyard, on the sidewalks, and in their homes. Your love, innocence, and genuine connection moved me deeply.
That's right.
You made this campaign unforgettable, and I'm truly grateful to have touched your lives. Again, to all my teams, thank you for believing in me. Through every hill and through every valley, you've lifted me up, and I will always be grateful for the sacrifices you've made, the incredible work that you've put in. Madam Speaker, as we serve the public and give of ourselves to nation building, we are only able to do so because of the love and support of our families. And I am fortunate to have by my side my husband, Donovan Davis, and my daughter, Bethany.
Yeah, Bethany.
In a matter of a few days, Donovan and I will be celebrating our 10th year wedding anniversary.
Oh, very good. Go ahead. Very good.
Donovan, Madam Speaker, is not only my husband and the father of my daughter, but my best friend. And I thank God every day for our bond and the support he has given me every step of my life and professional journey from the day we met.
Yes.
To my daughter, thank you for making me a mother and giving me a reason to smile. You and my husband are my greatest blessings. To all, pay attention. To all my family, my mother, my sisters, my mother-in-law, in-laws, and my village, thank you for your love, prayers, and support. You all make this journey possible, and I am thankful.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, I must take a moment to express my heartfelt appreciation to our Prime Minister for the trust and confidence placed in me with my reappointment to the Cabinet of the Bahamas.
Yes.
It is certainly a privilege to serve under his remarkable leadership, A leadership, Madam Speaker, that is characterized by humility, vision, and an unwavering commitment to the people of the Bahamas. No movement succeeds without a steady hand at the helm. Our Prime Minister is more than a leader.
That's right.
To all of us.
Yes.
He's a mentor.
That's right.
His leadership is defined by a rare combination of steel and compassion.
My God. Safe it brave.
His leadership style has taught us that power is not something to be hoarded,
Safe it brave.
but something to be shared.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, it is noteworthy that under his leadership, that we are celebrating a historical milestone. For the first time in over 25 years, we find ourselves witnessing a consecutive term administration in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. The general election of 2026 was not just a political contest, it was a national referendum on the soul of our country.
That's right.
By returning the Progressive Liberal Party to government, the Bahamian people have sent a clear and resounding message. They have chosen progress over politics.
That's right.
They have chosen the big tent
All the way.
over the narrow circle.
That's right.
And they have chosen a future where every Bahamian have a seat at the table.
That's right.
Madam Speaker, the Bahamian people chose a party whose campaign was grounded in leadership
Clean.
and purpose. Not in gimmicks,
No.
harsh rhetoric,
No.
hatred, or destruction.
Division.
They chose, Madam Speaker, the Progressive Liberal Party.
Yeah. That's right.
Because they wanted us to keep moving this nation forward. And I can assure you, Madam Speaker,
Yes.
that is what we plan to do.
Yes.
In delivering on this administration's progressive agenda in energy, utilities, and aviation, I am proud to be accompanied by some of our leaders. Joining me today in the gallery,
Yes.
I ask them to stand. Our Executive Chair of BPL, Christina Alston.
Yes.
Our Deputy Chair, Dylan Sawyer. Our Director, Patricia Clare.
Yep, Trish.
Our COO of Grand Bahama Power Company,
That's right.
Nikita Mullins.
Oh, yeah.
Vice President of Operations, Nielsen Benaby.
That's right.
Executive Chair of Water and Sewers, Trajine
Jadarit.
Jadarit.
Reverend.
General Manager, Robert Deal.
Yeah, Robert.
Deputy Director General of Tourism and Director of Aviation, Dr. Kenneth Romer.
Yeah, Kenneth.
Executive Chairman of the Airport Authority, Paul Bevins.
Oh, PLT all the way.
Director General of Civil Aviation, Shakita Johnson.
Yeah.
And the CEO of Bahamas Grid Company, Dario McKenzie, a
Welcome back home,
Bahamian.
Ready to move forward.
Progressive team.
That's right.
You may be seated. Thank you.
That's right.
Some of my team members from Elizabeth are also in the gallery, and I'm thankful, Madam Speaker, for their show of support and encouragement. We meet at a pivotal moment in our national story as we look across our beautiful archipelago from Managua to Grand Bahama. We see a nation that is no longer content with good enough. We see a people ready to lead the region, ready to innovate, and ready to claim the prosperity that our geography and our talent deserve. It is with this observation in mind that the theme of this contribution is energy, utilities, and aviation, progressing through collaboration, partnerships, and new ideas. This theme reflects the importance of working together, forging relationships, and unleashing the power, innovation to secure continued progress across the critical sectors of energy, water, and travel. The Ministry of Energy, Utilities, and Aviation is a large agency with a direct and indirect staff complement of over 800 workers. In the energy sector, the ministry is responsible for relations with Bahamas Power and Light, relations with Grand Bahama Power Company, and the Project Execution Unit. The ministry has direct responsibility for the energy sector, energy systems, energy policy, oil and gas exploration, and oil and gas. Under utilities, the ministry is responsible for relations with Water and Sewage Corporation. In aviation, the ministry is responsible for the Department of Aviation, which includes civil aviation, air traffic licensing, Nassau Flight Services, relations with the Airport Authority, Navigation Services Authority, airports, relations with Nassau Airport Development Company, and relations with Freeport Development Company. Throughout the ministry, our agencies, there is a clear understanding of significance of our work ahead and the urgency to achieve our goals. And this national budget is integral to our success. Madam Speaker, in the 2026-2027 budget, the Ministry of Energy, Utilities, and Aviation has recurring expenditure of $91.9 million. Of the figure, $200,000 has been earmarked for energy reform initiatives, $51.1 million for Water and Sewage Corporation development projects, $610,000 for the Department of Aviation, $7.8 million for the Airport Authority, $3.6 million for Nassau Flight Services, $9 million for civil aviation, and $18 million for Bahamas Air Navigation Services Authority. Funding to support energy restoration and renewable energy have been allocated in the capital budget in the Ministry of Finance in the amount of $6 million. Madam Speaker, within the energy sector, our primary partners are BPL, Bahamas Grid Company, and GB Power. Other strategic partners include Shell New Providence Gas Company, Energy Bahamas Holdings Limited, EA Energy, CVB Utility Company, Madeline Solar, Eco Energy, Andrus Renewable Energy, Exuma Renewables Company, Renugen Pro Company, Family Island Microgrid Company, and the Project Execution Unit in the ministry. Together with the Ministry of Energy, Utilities, and Aviation, these companies are executing the new energy era that is the most ambitious in our nation's history. Madam Speaker, I wish to update the House on key accomplishments and developments within the sector. In 2025, BPL executed a fuel price protection arrangement to safeguard our customers from market volatility and cause the price of fuel to be fixed. For clarity, BPL secured a fixed strike price of US $65 per barrel for 1 year. When international oil prices rise above that level, as they sharply have, our fuel cost remains constant. That's right. Not only are residential consumers protected from price spikes, but commercial consumers are able to effectively budget their energy costs and reliably predict annual energy expenditures. Madam Speaker, since the fuel arrangement, approximately, you'll see there, yes, our fuel hedge, our fuel price arrangement started working for us in the money in February 2026. Since the fuel arrangement, approximately $21.7 million in savings, Madam Speaker, have been realized. Wow. Madam Speaker, 4 months. This is money that has stayed in the pockets of Bahamian families and businesses rather than being absorbed by rising energy costs. Madam Speaker, the uneven cost of electricity was also one of the reasons why the Davis administration amended the Electricity Act and made it clear the electricity regulations, including pricing, must fall within the national statutory framework and under IRCA, the independent regulator. Yes. By acquiring Grand Bahama Power Company, Freeport, Madam Speaker, for the first time, is being brought in line with the rest of the country on electricity oversight and pricing. For Grand Bahamas, over 17,000 households and over 1,500.
Shows progress.
The chair recognizes the honourable member for Long Island.
Get my book, man.
Madam Speaker, thank you. And I appreciate the willingness for the member for Elizabeth to be so transparent and accountable to the Bahamian people. Your graphic there shows what the Bahamian people have saved since February of 2026. As you know, through you, Madam Speaker, the Free National Movement was quite critical of the former administration for eliminating the fuel hedge at BPL shortly after they assumed government in 2021. Do you have, Madam Speaker, does the member for Elizabeth, can she show how much money the Bahamian people lost because they eliminated the hedge shortly after assuming office in 2021? Please.
Thank you, Honourable Member.
He can put that in his contribution. This is my time.
Questions and answers.
My time. Madam Speaker, by acquiring Grand Bahama Power Company, Freeport, for the first time is being brought in line with the rest of the country on electricity oversight and pricing. For Grand Bahamas, over 17,000 households. Over 17,000 households and over 1,500 small and medium-sized businesses. Madam Speaker, over 17,000.
Members.
I know the truth hurts, right? But I can get this point on the record, Madam Speaker. For Grand Bahamians, over 17,000 households.
That's right.
And over 1,500 small and medium-sized businesses. Our Minister for Grand Bahama will be very happy to hear it. Electricity have been lowered. And this change will be reflected on electricity bills that will be issued on Thursday, the 11th of June, 2026. The new bills, Madam Speaker, will reflect the elimination of the base rate for under 200 kilowatt hour of electricity, fuel charge tiers, alignment to consumption tiers, and the elimination of the storm recovery charge. And our Minister Moxie kept raising. Yes, let's show them. Let's show them. As I highlight, I wish to point out that a residential consumer on Grand Bahama will move from paying 0.22 cents for 351 to 800 kilowatt hours to 0.11 cents. A commercial consumer will move from paying 0.18 cents for 20,000 to 100,000 kilowatt hour to 0.14 cents. Madam Speaker, I point out these changes because I want to demonstrate clearly how relief is not on the way in Grand Bahama. Relief is here. To provide corporate oversight and support to the executive team at Grand Bahama Power in shaping strategy and succession, the government will appoint an 8-member board. Following consultation with the Prime Minister, I'm pleased to announce that the board will be led by our chairman, noted Grand Bahamian attorney, Mr. Paco Deal.
It's the real deal.
That's the real deal.
High five.
He will be supported by Deputy Chairman, Senator Jayan Major. Other board members include Sherlyn Brathwaite, Glennet Fowler, Carla Clare, Christopher Guthrow, Julian Sawyer, and Keith Russell.
Good board. That's a good board.
To the employees of Grand Bahama Power Company, I understand and appreciate that there is a level of concern of job security. Please note that this energy transformation underway in the Bahamas now includes Grand Bahama, and there is still much more work ahead. So to the staff in GB Power, be assured you remain to be our greatest asset. And in the coming weeks,
Job security.
in the coming weeks, I will return with the team to Grand Bahama to work alongside our COO, Nikita, and our newly appointed chairman, Mr. Paco Deal, and meet with various teams and departments to address questions and provide more detail about the transformation and Grand Bahama's role in it. Madam Speaker, summer season of maximum energy demand and minimum margin for error. Summer readiness is not just a technical checklist for our electricity companies, but a covenant between a utility and the people it serves. As we advance through our summer readiness program, some service interruptions will occur. This is an expected part of the extensive infrastructure upgrades taking place across New Providence, all while we continue to operate and maintain the system that powers thousands of homes and businesses each day. Right now, certain outages are happening as we complete essential foundational work. In some areas, electrical loads that are normally shared between two circuits are temporarily being supported by just one, while construction is ongoing. This added demand can strain sections of the network and heighten the likelihood of interruptions. In many ways, this effort resembles renovating a home while still living in it. Careful planning helps reduce inconvenience, but it cannot prevent every challenge that comes with rebuilding critical infrastructure while keeping service running. We know that some communities are experiencing more frequent outages due to their closeness to these construction and system improvement projects. We understand the frustrations this causes for residents, families, and businesses, and we do not take that impact lightly. Madam Speaker, our system operators, control center teams, and field crews are working continuously to safely manage a grid that is serving customers as it undergoes modernization. In fact, Madam Speaker, I was speaking to some of them up to 1:30 a.m. last night. Our team, every action we take is guided by a single goal, Madam Speaker, providing a stronger and more dependable electricity system for the people of the Bahamas.
That's right.
Our customers remain our top priority, and we are grateful for the public's patience and understanding as these vital upgrades move forward and remain committed to reducing disruptions while building a more resilient energy future for all Bahamians. Madam Speaker, I'm not here to make excuses, but criticizing, bashing, and tearing down is easy. Yes. Transforming our energy sector is a continual process of improvement, and this government's priority is to make it more affordable, more reliable, and more sustainable. Madam Speaker, for the first time in our nation's history, we have a truly viable plan for energy transformation, one that includes renewable energy on our grid. Meanwhile, those who have so much to say have nothing to show for the time they were given. In fact, they have yet to present a comprehensive energy plan, not even during their campaign.
Thank God, man.
What's even more troubling, Madam Speaker, is the way they behave, as though if they had won, they would step into government with the next day with everything miraculously fixed.
That's right.
But here's the reality, Madam Speaker. They would be relying on the very same engineers and technicians working the same lines, wires, and circuits we are currently upgrading. The same faults would appear.
No point of order.
The same faults would appear in the same places and last just as long.
The chair recognizes the honourable member for Marco City.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The minister fails to acknowledge, Madam Speaker, that when we took on the government when they first came to power, with respect to the hedge program, we identified the package of information that was provided to the Honourable Alfred Sayers and the Prime Minister. In both packages of information, Madam Speaker, was our strategic plan and vision for the energy sector. And Madam Speaker, as you look at the various reports put forth by this administration in terms of what they have been working on, Madam Speaker, a substantial amount of that was lifted, Madam Speaker, from the very same strategic plan. Madam Speaker, let me tell you the exceptions. Let me just tell you a couple of the exceptions. One, Madam Speaker.
You can't have two people on the feet. I'm saying.
One of the exceptions, Madam Speaker, is that they considered the hedge program at that time, according to what is printed, by.
It's not a point of order.
Madam Speaker. The member is misleading the public.
Wrap up.
So the point of order, Madam Speaker, is that the member is misleading the public about what was. Madam Speaker, may I continue?
Honorable members, only one member on the feet.
Listen. Respect for the
How
House.
about take a seat, please, Madam Speaker?
Yes. Honorable member, could you please get to the point of order and then...
I can't get to the point. I cannot get to the point if you permit her to continue to be belligerent. I cannot. But I will wait for you to govern the House, Madam Speaker. Thank you. So, Madam Speaker, the package of information was the same package of information that caused the former member for Fort Charlotte, to retreat on the stories he was telling. One is, Madam Speaker, the hedge program. The hedge program was a part of that. The hedge program was a part of that. Retiring the legacy debt was a part of that, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
What was different is that we believe, Madam Speaker, that there was a need for competitive bidding on what this government has given to others by direct awards, with a lack of competitive bidding, Madam Speaker. So clearly, what she is saying is an absolute lie, Madam Speaker. An absolute lie. We did have a strategic plan. We did put a plan forward, Madam Speaker, and it is untrue. Untrue, Madam Speaker. Let me rephrase it. Madam Speaker. Let me rephrase it for you, Madam Speaker. Let me rephrase it. What she said, Madam Speaker, is untrue. What she said is untrue, Madam Speaker. So I withdraw a lie and say it was untrue, Madam Speaker. She misled the House, Madam Speaker.
I'm on my feet.
Not today.
Let's come back. Honorable member, first of all, I'm striking from the record.
Not to strike it, I withdraw it and indicated she told me.
But I didn't hear it because I had a multitude.
No problem. I said on.
I had a multitude of noise.
I restated it, Madam Speaker.
Honorable member.
I restated it.
Honorable
member. It was untrue.
Allow me to speak.
She was untrue.
Allow me to speak. Allow me to speak. You allow me to speak. You are not coming here and impugn a member by calling them a liar. And nobody will do that. Nobody will do that. No member. Now, I mean, you could get angry, but control your emotions. Control your emotions. You cannot come in this space and call these people a liar. I reprimanded the member. You don't tell me what to do and how to control my energy. I didn't use an energy. In this space, anyway, I'm not running on with you. With that being said, the chair recognizes the honorable member for Elizabeth.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I know the truth hurts. Right? So I'm going to continue on my journey, but I do want to make a point, Madam Speaker.
Go ahead.
This is my speech.
Thank you.
This is my communication.
Yes.
This is how I feel. I am putting how Jo Beth Colby Davis, the Member of Parliament for Elizabeth, feels. So if I say they presented no comprehensive plan, I read it and I didn't think it was comprehensive. You and tell me what you put in a document. I said it was not comprehensive. I said that. That's how I feel. And I have a right to do that. Go read and learn what you could do when you write your speech. Go read it.
It was nothing.
I go back, Madam Speaker, that the reality is they would be relying on the same engineers, the same technicians, working with the same lines, the same wires, and the same circuits, which we are currently upgrading. The same faults would appear in the same places and last just as long. It's the same people. Same people. So let's be honest, no amount of repeated talking points can diminish the fact that our country, when it comes to the energy sector, is finally moving in the right direction.
Get it done. That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, Madam Speaker. We are experiencing growing pains. See, I tremble in waters. I know that. I know that.
God is in you. Let him know, yeah?
But I started with Isaiah 41.
That's right. Let him know. They forget that.
And that's who's with me. Yes, Madam Speaker, we are experiencing growing pains. We're experiencing growing pains, Madam Speaker. This when you trouble the water. What they say, a hit dog. All right.
Aretha Franklin, trouble water.
The member for Elizabeth is materially misleading the House. The reality is, this past weekend, we had Bahamians sweating. Like Leslie Miller often says, Bahamian people sweating because the lights were off in New Providence for more than 24 hours in certain locations. In Cat Island, the constituency for the member for the Prime Minister, they had to apologize, issue a press release because they were without power for the signature Cat Island Rake and Scrape Festival. An embarrassing occurrence. And she tells us, the member for Elizabeth tells us that we are heading in the right direction, that we are making progress. That is not progress, Madam Speaker. We are regressing under the leadership of the member for Elizabeth.
I was guided when I wrote this, you know. Because I said, even if they was to win, the same situations will happen. See, because if you understand the energy sector,
I ain't understand it.
if a fault is on the system, the fault is on the system. If an incident causes an engine to spark, and that engine catches a fire, no politician did that. You think that BPL wants the power off? Every time I speak and I talk about bills, I started by saying this amount of KWH. That's the base tariff rate. In order for us to make money, you have to use your kilowatt hours. When you don't have power coming to your home, BPL cannot put nothing on a bill. So we make nothing if the power is out. That's why I was guided how I wrote this. I know I was going to trouble waters. I know I was going to trouble waters. That ain't bothering me. That's not bothering me.
Your bridge,
They fighting with an expert. I'm guessing this.
See what y'all start today?
I'm not guessing this. I'm not guessing, Madam Speaker. So let's talk about, we are experiencing growth. It's painful. It's painful, Madam Speaker. It's painful. These some of the blows they throw last term. They throw these blows last term. Madam Speaker, they throw these blows last term, and the Bahamian people in Elizabeth voted for me. More voted for me. Same blows. Same blows. Hey, Madam Speaker, I beat their chairman by over 300 when I was not known. Right? I beat their chairman by over 300 votes when I was not known. And for 4.5 years, they throw blows, lies, all kind of things on my character. But I know the God I serve. And I'll tell you, they throw those blows
Same old blows.
for 4.5 years.
And you weathered them.
4.5 years.
Weathered them.
I weathered the storm with God on my side.
That's right.
And when the polls were counted,
Oh my God.
at the recount, we counted 1 box. You know why? Because I done blow you out. So send who you can send in 2031. And throw your blows. Throw your blows. Anyways, Madam Speaker, we are experiencing growing pains. But those challenges come with the understanding that we are finally confronting long-standing problems and building a system that is affordable, reliable, sustainable, and capable of supporting continued growth and development in the Bahamas.
That's right.
Madam Speaker, while some believe that these challenges are unique to our shores, you knew here, I don't play. Ain't nothing got me scared. Ain't nothing got me scared. While some believe our challenges are unique to our shores, the honest reality is that we are not alone. We are not alone, Madam Speaker. As I speak here today, several U.S. states and some provinces in Canada are experiencing periods of grid stress due to extreme heat waves. To be clear, knowing that we are not alone does not excuse us from our duty. Rather, it should motivate our energy companies to work smarter and in a strategic manner.
That's right.
At BPL, our leaders have prepared for a peak summer demand of 300 megawatts on New Providence, 27 megawatts on Abaco, and 20.5 megawatts on Eleuthera. Currently, BPL has 340 megawatts installed capacity on New Providence, which will increase to 385 megawatts at the end of the month. 36 megawatts on Abaco and 24 megawatts on Eleuthera, which will increase to 26.5 megawatts by the end of July. By August, we expect 29 megawatts of capacity on Eleuthera. While I know that this information does not address all the islands on which BPL operates, our analysis indicates that these are the islands where we encounter the most challenges during the summer months. It is important to note that all other islands such as Exuma, Inagua, Cat Island, Andros, and others are all prepared and ready for summer. On Grand Bahama, a peak summer demand of 60 megawatts is anticipated, up from the 56 megawatts last year. I'm advised that sufficient generation coverage is in place for the demand. The final energy focal point I wish to touch on is our diversification projects. Energy diversification will improve reliability, support economic stability, and foster technological advancement. To achieve these goals, our renewable energy projects are moving forward. In New Providence, Eleuthera, and Abaco, our projects have broken ground, Madam Speaker. In Grand Bahama, partnership with Bahamas Solar and Renewables is progressing well. The project will provide 9 megawatts to Freeport's grid with an additional 5 megawatts of solar energy coming online in the fall. I have one of those. No, not one. The next one, the next one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's our solar project. Now, Abaco and Eleuthera, especially Eleuthera for my colleague, Minister Sweden.
Yes. Yeah.
You have trailers on the ground, all packed with solar panels. And EA Energy will begin installation of those units along with battery energy storage. And they will be your gift. Christmas 2026.
Oh, wow. Merry Christmas, buddy.
Merry Christmas, Eleuthera and Abaco. Madam Speaker, a key component of that transformation is the introduction of LNG generation on New Providence. This transition is projected to deliver approximately $92 million in annual savings to consumers. More importantly, it enhances fuel security and diversification while providing BPL with greater operational flexibility. By expanding its fuel options, BPL is better positioned to employ economic dispatch across its generation fleet, ensuring the most cost-effective units are utilized at the right time to maximize savings and efficiency for consumers. Madam Speaker, as I prepare to conclude my update on energy now, I got two more. Energy portfolio, I wish to address the recent public commentary that suggested that electricity costs in the Bahamas are 5 times higher than the average for Latin America and the Caribbean. While this claim cites data from an Inter-American Development Bank report, the interpretation presented to the public is misleading because it conflates household electricity expenditures with electricity prices. Those are not the same thing, Madam Speaker. Electricity expenditure reflects both the price of electricity and the amount of electricity consumed. A household that uses significantly more electricity will naturally incur a larger bill, even when paying the same rate as every other customer. You use more, you pay more. Easy.
It's common sense.
The distinction is particularly important in the Bahamas. When we compare electricity tariffs rather than expenditures, a different picture emerges. According to the Caribbean Electric Utility Services Corporation survey of regional utilities, Bahamas Power and Light's residential rates remain broadly comparable to, and in many cases below, the regional average. At 800 kilowatt hours of monthly consumption, BPL's residential rate is approximately 30 cents per kilowatt hour, compared to a regional average of approximately 36 cents per kilowatt hour. Madam Speaker, the government has never denied that electricity costs have historically been too high. That's right. Addressing that challenge is precisely why we launched the most comprehensive energy reform program in our nation's history. For decades, the Bahamas relied on heavily imported fuel, exposing consumers to volatile prices and rising costs. Today, we are changing that model. Energy diversification is economic and national security imperative. It improves reliability, strengthens energy security, reduces price volatility, and creates opportunity for long-term cost savings. But this transformation is not only about infrastructure. Our investment in human capital is equally important. Today, BPL employees are in classrooms receiving specialized training to conduct residential and commercial energy audits, helping Bahamian households and businesses identify opportunities to reduce energy consumption and lower their electricity bills through greater efficiency. As BPL prepares its tariff review submission to ERCA, the government remains committed to affordability and consumer protection, including maintaining the zero-rated first 200 kilowatt hours for residential customers. For the first time in our nation's history, we are building an energy system that will deliver lower costs, improve reliability, greater resilience, and a more energy-conscious Bahamas. That is the work underway today. Madam Speaker, I now turn my attention to utilities. Under this portfolio is the Water and Sewage Corporation. I would like to take this moment to thank my colleague and acknowledge my colleague, the member for South and Central Andros and Mangrove Key, Minister Lundy, for his leadership and dedicated service to water and sewage during the last term. Madam Speaker, if energy is the lifeblood, then water is the soul of our communities. Currently celebrating its 50th anniversary, the Water and Sewage Corporation is undergoing a physical and digital revolution. This revolution will lead to improved water quality and pressure across communities in New Providence and the Family Islands. Through partnership with the Caribbean Development Bank, the Water and Sewage is advancing phase 2 of the Bahamas Water Supply Improvement Project, a multi-island program designed to upgrade water infrastructure and support long-term economic and social resilience. Islands that are directly impacted by this project include New Providence, Abaco, Andros, Crooked Island, Eleuthera, and Rum Key. In addition to the CDC, the Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB, is also a key partner for the corporation. Funding from the IDB is already improving sustainability and resilience in water and wastewater services across the Bahamas through infrastructure upgrades and smart technologies. Madam Speaker, working together with the Ministry of Works and Family Island Affairs, the corporation is replacing and upgrading water infrastructure as part of road paving projects across the company. Here's what it looks like on the ground. New Providence, Joe Farrington Road water infrastructure fully replaced and commissioned in November 2025 at a cost of $1.2 million. Cat Island, more than $32 million in new water infrastructure is underway, covering most homes. I see Luther, I can get to that one. Most homes and businesses on the island, and 1/5 complete so far. Long Island, about $3.6 million in new water mains, roughly halfway done. Eleuthera, $2.4 million in project for Bannerman Town and John Miller's communities is nearly finished, 95% complete.
Very good.
Oh, but show Long Island, I just spoke about that one. That's $3.6 million in new water mains. Roughly halfway done. I mean, Long Island, you pay attention to everything else and you ain't want to see your water main. Come on, man, you gotta give me something. Mangrove Key, about $5.5 million in works to replace all water mains. We ain't got nothing for Mangrove Key. We can show you next time, Minister. About $5.5 million in water works to replace all water mains and extend supply to areas currently without piped water, starting late this year. And San Salvador, over $6.5 million in infrastructure upgrades scheduled to begin later this year. And within my constituency of Elizabeth, several households have benefited from the work of water and sewage in upgrading water pipes on Joe Farrington Road. And I saw my colleague and sister in Seabreeze saying the same thing. We worked that together. And work is ongoing in other communities with aged water infrastructure systems and several other communities, including other family islands. Madam Speaker, the theme of this contribution referred to new ideas. And in that regard, water and sewage is leading the way through the continued rollout of smart meters. This new smart meter technology is eliminated the practice of bill estimation, which has sometimes left consumers frustrated. Further, this new technology is allowing for real-time leak detection by using AI-driven acoustic sensors, set in the right direction and in line with global trends. Another significant development that I wish to update the House on is the purchase of the desalination plants from Aqua Design across Eleuthera, Exuma, San Salvador, and Managua. Currently, efforts are underway for the full operation and maintenance of these plants under the Water and Sewage Desal Company Limited. In the future, WS Desal Company will expand to offer services in the private sector, both locally and regionally, positioning the Bahamas as a leader in the desalination innovation in the Caribbean. Madam Speaker, in 2012, Water and Sewage signed a 10-year non-revenue water performance-based contract that delivered one of the largest non-revenue water reduction for a utility in our region. And this program has been recognized internationally for its success in the area of NRW performance-based contracts. The corporation continues to make measurable progress as the program has already saved over 16 billion imperial gallons of water, which translates to more than 130 million in savings from water purchases alone. Every gallon we save is water we do not have to purchase. As a mark of the program's success, today the corporation presently sells 60% more water here in New Providence than it did in 2012, utilizing the same or slightly less production per day than it did in 2012. The contract was extended in 2022 for 4 additional years to facilitate the transition from Maya Bahamas to the corporation's full management and control by the 1st of January 2027. It is this government's vision that the corporation will develop an all-Bahamian NRW team that will serve as a center of excellence, providing world-class non-revenue water services, first for all the corporation, and then expanding nationally and then internationally. To make this center of excellence a reality, a new office facility is being added to the rear of the corporation's head office on University Drive at a cost of $1.5 million. And it is anticipated that the corporation will have full occupancy of this new facility by late summer. Madam Speaker, regarding Family Island commercial offices, notable progress has been made in reinstating office spaces for one, increased and consistent collections, ease of business for our customers and staff, and increased operational efficiency. Offices have been reinstated in Mangrove Key, Andros, Rock Sound, South Eleuthera, and later this month, Green Turtle Key, Abaco. Additional offices are slated for reinstatement include Treasure Key, Abaco, Crooked Island, and Inagua. A new office will be opened in Cat Island by the third quarter of this year to provide modern services to our customers as part of the expansion of water supply infrastructure on that island. Going further, Madam Speaker, the need to diversify operations while retaining the customer interaction interface remains a priority within the corporation. Subsequently, the efforts to reinstate offices throughout the islands align with this objective. We anticipate that these reinstatements will increase consistent customer payments in the Family Island and reduce the engagement of mass disconnection activities by having a presence for customers and staff to engage routinely. Madam Speaker, I now turn to the last sector under the ministry, that's aviation. I also wish to acknowledge and extend my appreciation to the member for Exuma and
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Pinewood.
That the House move beyond the 1 o'clock hour.
Okay. Thank you, honorable members. It's been moved and seconded that the business of this House proceed beyond the 1 p.m. hour. As many are in favor, will remain seated. Those opposed will stand. The motion is carried. The business of this House will now proceed beyond the 1 p.m. hour. Honorable member, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I turn to the third sector under the ministry, that is aviation. I firstly wish to acknowledge and extend my appreciation and thanks to the member for Exuma and Ragged Island, the Deputy Prime Minister, I. Chester Cooper, for his leadership and dedicated service to the aviation industry during the last term. Madam Speaker, aviation is the lifeblood of our modern economy. We are a tourism-driven nation. That is our strength. But tourism cannot grow if our visitors cannot reach us comfortably. And our nation cannot be whole if Grand Bahama and our Family Islands are left in the shadows. Our aviation infrastructure must be the foundation of economic house. When we talk about the island connectivity, we are talking about equity. To achieve this, we are embarking on a mission to modernize our Family Island airports. These are not just landing strips. They are gateways to local economies. By upgrading these facilities, we invite investment, we create local jobs, and we ensure that the Bahamian dream is accessible from Grand Bahama down to Inagua. As I speak, the terminal at Rum Key is quickly taking shape. A remarkable observation, considering that the partnership was signed a few weeks ago. You can see that, Rum Key?
Yeah.
In Deadman's Key, Long Island. I mean, I just bigging up Long Island, and he just come here to do me in.
I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I'm becoming.
We can iron it out. In Deadman's Key, Long Island, the work.
I ain't know what to say now.
You know what to say. I'm telling you. Deadman's Key, Long Island, the work on the extension to the runway is going, and blocks for the new terminal have been laid. Though they slay me.
Oh my God.
Preach.
Good. In Exuma, the new terminal is also taking shape. This terminal will support the islands. Oh, that's Exuma. This is Exuma. Yeah. I think that's Exuma. I think that's it.
Which beach? South Beach. This no bad. This.
Something. Yeah, the new international terminal is also taking shape. This terminal will support the island's anticipated growth and future development. At Rock Sound Airport, the runway improvement project is underway. And a few weeks ago, plumbing infrastructure has been put in place for the new North Eleuthera Airport. By building and upgrading airport's facility through our family islands, yes, Petty, we're inviting investment and creating local jobs. Madam Speaker, the Lyndon Pendant International Airport, LPIA, is the front door to our home. It's the first thing a visitor sees and the last memory they take with them. During the upcoming summer season, June to September, more than 4,514 flights are expected to operate in Nassau, Paradise Island, which is 16% ahead of 2025. Wow. To keep pace with the giants of global tourism, we must invest in the bones of our gateway. This means significant improvements to our runways to accommodate the next generation of larger, more fuel-efficient aircraft, and it means expanding our capacity with more jet bridges. Why do jet bridges matter? Because they represent the seamless experience. Jet bridges allow for faster turnaround times for airlines. In the world of aviation, time is the most precious currency. By making LPIA more efficient, we make the Bahamas more attractive to every major airline on the planet. In Grand Bahama, we will partner with the Manchester Airports Group to bring the long overdue new Grand Bahama International Airport to fruition.
Yeah. They can invite all the Marcos.
They can be invited. I can invite them.
Invite all of them.
I have met, I'm going to send the invites to Minister Moxley.
Yes.
Their invites. I have met with the group and received a briefing. While there's plenty work ahead, I wish to be clear. Grand Bahama's economic renaissance requires a modern airport. Yes. And we will act with urgency and make this infrastructure project a top priority. We will deliver.
Shows progress.
Building on progress.
That's right.
The blueprint, Michael. Madam Speaker, now I want to speak to something that doesn't always make the headlines, but it is the very ground we stand on in the aviation industry, regulatory oversight. In aviation, safety is our northern star. Without a world-class regulatory framework, we have nothing. We are committed to strengthening the Bahamas Civil Aviation Authority to ensure that every plane that takes off and every pilot that sits in a cockpit meets the highest international standards. This leads me to a critical point, our U.S. pre-clearance status. The Bahamas is one of a select few nations in the world that offers the convenience of U.S. Customs and Border Protection pre-clearance. This is a massive competitive advantage. Retaining this status is not a given. It is earned every single day through rigorous security protocols and unwavering cooperation with our international partners. We will continue to invest in the technology and the training required to ensure that our security is ironclad. We will not jeopardize the gold standard that makes the Bahamas a preferred destination for millions. Madam Speaker, without our people, our infrastructure and regulations are just steel and paper. We need more Bahamian pilots. We need more Bahamian aircraft mechanics, air traffic controllers, drone specialists, and aviation administrators. I'm also mindful that we must also focus on retention. While we encourage our pilots and other aviation professionals to go abroad and gain knowledge, we must also encourage them to come back home. This means competitive wages, modern facilities, and a sector that rewards innovation. As Minister, I'm committed to creating pathways for aviation talent. I'm open to engagement and dialogue. I'm open to hearing ideas and solutions. Madam Speaker, in aviation, we must look at where we are going. I know the connection between aviation and tourism is that of symbiotic relationship. Bearing this in mind, I will work closely with my colleague and the first female Minister of Tourism, the Member of Parliament for Angliston. Closely. The U.S. market will always be our bread and butter, but the world is a large place. There's a growing middle class in Latin America. I believe that there is an untapped appetite for the Bahamian brand in Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. Our mission is to attract more direct airlift from these emerging markets. A few weeks ago, our fellow CARICOM nation, Barbados, welcomed Air Peace, which now provides a direct commercial flight between Nigeria and Barbados. I cite this development to highlight the importance of aviation supporting tourism, connectivity, and economic growth. Every new flight is a new stream of revenue for our taxi drivers, our hotel workers, our tour operators, and our artisans. At every international aviation conference, we must push for direct flights that leads to our tropical paradise. After all, this is the responsibility that we all carry. In aviation, new ideas must soar. Madam Speaker, the role of the Ministry of Energy, Utilities, and Aviation is to serve as the engine room of the nation. Our responsibility is to be proactive and not reactive. Our mandate will be driven by threefold mandate: security, sustainability, and equity. We view ourselves as the guardians of the infrastructure that makes all other economic activity possible. Without stability, we provide. There is no manufacturing, no digital economy, and no modern healthcare. As I conclude, Madam Speaker, I want the public to know that the Ministry of Energy, Utilities, and Aviation is your partner. Yeah. The infrastructure we build belongs to you, but the success of these investments also requires a partnership with the citizenry. As Minister, I ask you to see the new power lines and renewable energy projects that will improve our energy security. See the water pipes and smart water meters that will reach new homes and businesses. See the airports and runways that will bring new opportunities to our shores. We accept the weight of this responsibility, and we will continue to work to ensure that the fundamental systems of this nation remain strong and stable through collaboration, partnerships, and new ideas. Madam Speaker, Elizabeth supports this budget. God bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
God bless you, ma'am.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The Chair recognizes the Honourable Member for Marco City.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, yesterday I signaled the intention to table the document that I referred to yesterday, and I know I'm obligated, Madam Speaker, to indicate the site from which it has been gotten, or the source, and this is the United States District Court, Southern District of New York, Madam Speaker, and I'd like to say in advance, Madam Speaker, that it is an official site from the United States Judiciary, and I wanted to cite that in light of the fact that one of the points raised by the member for Fox Hill, he spoke about untested documents, Madam Speaker, and I want to know whether or not, Madam Speaker, he is referring to the U.S. District Court as an unreliable source, and then secondly, if he is asserting, Madam Speaker, that the document is untested even though relied upon by a grand jury. And then, Madam Speaker, in anticipation of his answer, I would like to refer, and I'll also be prepared to lay this as well with the document. Madam Speaker, it's this morning's Guardian that refers the PLP previously tabled untested allegations, Madam Speaker, no less than the present Prime Minister, who was then the Deputy Prime Minister. Madam Speaker, I specifically reference I reference a section of this document, Madam Speaker, that's highlighted for the benefit of all of those who will pick it up, Madam Speaker, and it refers, Madam Speaker, to a member of Parliament Madam Speaker, I'm on a point of order, a member of Parliament who was negotiating a drug deal in the precincts of the House. I raised this issue, Madam Speaker. I'm on a point of order. He should wait. I would wait.
On a point of order.
And so, Madam Speaker, again,
Honourable members.
Madam Speaker,
Honourable
I am
members.
continuing to lay a document
Honourable members.
I signaled on yesterday. And so
I am on my feet, honourable members. I'm on my feet. I'm on my feet.
Man, you gotta work with the U.S. every day as Foreign Affairs Minister.
Members.
You can't hold them in contempt. You gotta work with them every day. I want you to say what you was gonna say. Be man enough and say it.
Honourable member, calm down.
Be man enough and say what you was about to say. What you fighting about.
The chair recognizes the honourable member for Foxhill.
Madam Speaker, this is not
Honourable
a
member,
forum.
I will come back.
This is not a forum for subterfuge. The document, if he intends to lay any document, must be seen and examined by you before that document is laid. So don't come here and say you're going to read a paragraph from it. That is subterfuge. You're trying to get around the rules.
That's it.
It is not true, Madam Speaker. It is not true. We have laid multiple documents in this House that the Speaker did not have any prior sight of. Did not have any sight of.
Honourable members, honourable member.
And it is a document that has been in public circulation.
If you are
it has
speaking
been
on a matter
in public circulation, Madam Speaker, and so Madam Speaker,
honourable member.
Yes.
Just calm down
What happened in 2020?
and allow the rules
You savage
to be
Prime Minister in 2020.
processed in this place.
Yes, Madam.
Everybody wants to come in. I told you yesterday, okay? This floor is a floor of legislation where we pass bills and we lay a foundation for the country. You're coming back here again, and I told you if you have facts and evidence that you want to submit as it relates to whatever it is or what case you're building,
yes.
We have areas, not this one here, not the halls of this place, but you can go to Central Police Station and lay that. And listen to me, I'm speaking, okay? I have a legal team, and I am talking, hold on, I have a legal team. I have a legal team, and if you want to present something of that magnitude, I already tell you now, the House have moved forward. I have a legal team. If you want to present something, present it to me. Present it to via my clerk, and it will be presented to the legal team, and they will advise the Speaker. So, outside of that, you will not rise in this place, and I will not allow you to rise in this place and read that document without following the proper procedure. So, and I just laid the procedure in tow.
So, Madam Speaker,
Madam Speaker has spoken.
One of the things, Madam Speaker, one of the things you said that I entirely agree with, Madam Speaker, that when there is a concern, for example, of criminality that may have been conducted in the precincts of the House, any member...
And you're using the word may have.
Yeah, let me finish. Madam
may
Speaker,
have. That's pure speculation.
Yes, so, Madam
I may
Speaker,
not be an attorney, but I understand English language. And I'm not going to let you out-talk me today with that.
I'm not trying to talk you, Madam Speaker. And so whenever that occurs, you rightly said, Madam Speaker, that it could be reported to certain authorities. What is also true, Madam Speaker, is if the reputation of the House of Assembly is at risk of being damaged.
No, hold on. Let me speak to that.
Then, Madam
the
Speaker,
reputation
can I at least finish the statement?
of the House
May
of
I at
Assembly
least finish the
is
statement?
not at risk. I am saying to you,
it is at risk.
if you have the documentation,
it is at risk.
I am saying to you,
you can also report it to the police.
if you have the documentation, give it to the clerk of the House of Assembly, who will serve it to me, and the legal department.
I accept
the
that.
legal department will then properly advise the Speaker.
Madam Speaker,
that is what
do
they
you
are
agree
for.
that you can also report this to the?
The chair recognizes the honourable member for Pinewood.
Speaker, I move that the House do suspend until 3:30 p.m. today.
Thank you, honourable members. It has been moved and seconded that the business of this House be suspended until 3:30 p.m. As many are in favour will remain seated. Those opposed will stand. The motion is carried. The business of this House stands suspended until 3:30 p.m.